We'll see.
Restart the whole computer?
I don't know. Maybe not. Hopefully not. Oh. So, you know how I was talking about...
Now you're on speed. Now you're on. Yeah.
Okay, cool. You know how I was talking about... I was talking in the chat about... I was like, look, I'm not one to call out fallacies and stuff, but there's got to be a fallacy based on this thing that people do, where there's this thing where they offer you... they offer up an idea, and the idea is just fucking absurd. And no matter how absurd it is, like, it deserves a seat at the table because it's an idea. And not only that, but you're now on the back foot and you have to explain yourself, right? So I was thinking of, I don't know how much Office you've watched, but there's this great scene where Dwight and Toby are mad at Daryl. Daryl's the big black guy. And so they drive past his house because he's faking an injury. They see that he's not injured when he's at home. And then they yell asshole at him. And then he turns around and you see that it's actually Daryl's sister that just looks very mannish and big. And she's wearing the same jersey as he is. So they confront Dwight and Toby. He's like, why'd y'all call my sister an asshole? And it's funny because Daryl's pretending not to know something that is just completely obvious to everybody else. And Toby is a normal guy and he's nice, and they're taking his own benevolence hostage to make him look like an asshole if he explains the obvious thing. So he's like, it's just, but luckily he's saved because Dwight is autistic, and this trick does not work on autists. And he just goes, Are you serious? It's because you two look exactly alike. So it just doesn't work. It just bounces right off him. And I'm deciding that's just how you gotta respond to these people. And the reason I was thinking about this is because everybody's most recent race swap argument is Snape, because the Harry Potter trailer just came out, and Snape is black. We've known this for a while, but it's just kind of funny to see it. He's not just black, but he has dreads, you know. It just totally fucking takes you out of it. And there was just some Facebook page where like, are you excited for the new Harry Potter? And somebody just said, I can't, the Snape thing. It's so dumb. And this lady goes up there full hatchling. She's like, why? Why don't you like it? Why is that? And this person's trying to be nice. And in the past, I've done this. I've done that stupid thing where you grant them exactly what they want, which is for you to be on the back foot and just explain yourself for something that they already know and you shouldn't have to explain. And so he's like, well, it's just, it feels maybe like it's a little pandering and this and that. And I'm like, because he's black and Snape's not black. That's it. That's what it is. It's just because he's black. What's wrong with black people? I didn't say anything about that. I'm talking about Snape. Black Snape is weird. He's a fictional character. Look, I'm not explaining myself any further. It's fucking stupid. That's all it is. They did that years back when they did that whole would you date a transgender woman thing. And people are like, well, me personally, no. And they'd be like, why not? You fucking know. Like you hatchling, you know exactly why. And they'll be like, well, it's just, I don't know if I could match up with their experience. I just have these preferences. And then maybe I just never met one that I've been into. And no, you just say, because she's got a dick. And when you do that, they'll try to take it a little bit further and say another thing that, like, they pretend they don't obviously know, which is, what if she's had the surgery? And I guess maybe it corners the nice people, but the dicks and the autists will just be like, it's still a dick. It's just flopped inside out. I'm saying the thing that you already know. You're asking me to say the thing you already know, and you're setting it up to look like me saying that thing is me being a dick. And I don't care. I just don't care. The Snape thing is just so dumb. It's one of the guys at work, anytime there's this race swap, like, I don't know why people think it's a big deal that they changed Ariel. And I'm like, well, they think it's a big deal because it's fucking stupid. All right. And I could go on and explain to you why it would be really stupid to redo Blade and cast Timothy Chalamet or something like that, because it would do the same thing to me. Like, what? That's not Blade. What are you fucking? Come on, man. That's stupid. And of course, I said that to somebody, and she's explaining to me why representation matters. And I want to something that I want to do is, we all know that like woke mandates always contradict another woke mandate, and I would love to like start compiling a list of where they contradict each other, because this is one of the funniest ones to me. She talks about how representation matters. There's two mandates in wokeness. It's one of them is representation matters, and then another one of them is cool it with the America centrism, decenter America. And I'm like, you're kind of centering the American film industry right now. You're committing America centrism by centricism or whatever. You're just talking about American films or even European films. Like, if you tell me Indian men are underrepresented in movies, like, oh, I know you've not watched Bollywood. Like, you know, they make movies in Ethiopia. You just don't fucking watch them. Like, and granted, it's because our movies are cooler. You just want to be represented in the coolest shit.
There's some good Bollywood stuff out there now.
I'm sure there are.
It's corny good.
Yeah, I tried that RRR.
Too corny?
Well, it was just anytime, like, I can't do musicals at all, and they start singing in that one. I'm like, no. Like, unless it's like a funny one. Like, obviously, I liked the Book of Mormon musical and the South Park movie. And
have you seen Cannibal the musical?
No.
Do you know what it is?
I don't.
It's the movie that the South Park guys made when they were in college.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess.
It is. It's. I'm pretty sure it's still free on YouTube, but it is a fucking gem of a movie.
Really?
The sky is blue and all the leaves are green.
My heart's
It's
as
really
full
as a baked potato.
It's really weird because Matt Stone and Trey Parker are not at all theater kids, and the theater kids
Trey
don't
Parker
like their shit. Oh, is he? Well, they just, I don't know. Their humor isn't theater kid, but once you get the Book of Mormon musical, you need the South Park humor meets the theater kids, so it's kind of a weird blend to see.
Trey Parker majored in music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he minored in Japanese, and comes into the, like, it all ties together in Cannibal the musical because it is based on the real life story of Alfred Packer. Like, the whole thing, it's Oklahoma, but it's about the first person in American history to be convicted of cannibalism, which was like in pioneer times, Alfred Packer was convicted of cannibalism. It's actually, it's actually a really interesting story, and to this day, it's like a big mystery. But Trey Parker turned it into a musical because he's a crazy person. And there's so many things about it that are just absolutely charming. Because one thing is, like, they made it for no money, so, like, it stars their friends, and like in the opening scene, the guy playing the judge is Trey Parker's dad. But in the movie, there's a whole scene that takes place in a Native American village, but there weren't enough Native Americans around that he could find, and so he used all of the Japanese foreign exchange students, and they just speak Japanese, and like they're sort of vaguely dressed like Indians, except they have samurai swords and crap, and you just run with it. And also like the costumes, like they wear sneakers, they have some modern clothes mixed in, like, but it all works because it's it's those guys doing it. And that
Bingham Mine, Utah, when the song starts.
Yeah,
I hope I wouldn't get dinged for it. He named the horse after his girlfriend who just broke up with him.
Yeah, no. So
and you listen to the DVD commentary, he gets drunk and starts just ripping on his girlfriend who broke up.
So that, and he does it a lot. So he names the horse after it was his high school fiance who cheated on him while they were engaged, and she was Leanne, which is also why Cartman's mom is a crack whore. She's Leanne Cartman.
This is a college movie.
Sky is blue Spadoinkle Day as I
Fuck.
Doinkle.
I think I named one of these streams Spadoinkle Day or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's seriously one of my favorite movies, and I mean because it is so charming because like it's obviously enormously flawed.
People put on plays of it all the time nowadays.
Oh yeah, well, that's the other thing I was going to say about theater kids is like because he will, if you put on a play of it, like apparently he's super cool about it because when you put on a play you have to like get rights to it and all that crap so you don't violate copyright law and all that stuff. And something I learned from some theater kids who actually put it on is that he actually wrote 2 endings to it that you can choose which ending it is. And like one of them is the aliens ending, like aliens come down or something. But I mean, I don't know. I could go on about that movie for so long. It is such an absolute gem of a film.
It was like when rappers started, they started sampling like really big songs, and I can't remember who it was, but he sampled "Free Fallin'" by Tom Petty, and it got really huge. And somebody asked Tom Petty in an interview, they're like, "Hey, he sampled your song. Did he ask you to?" He's like, "Nah," and he's like, "You pissed off that you don't get anything from this?" And he's like, "The world's got a lot of problems without rich rock stars suing other rich rock stars. It's not a big deal."
Well, you could also point to the fact that people say that he ripped that song off from the Jayhawks.
Oh, well, maybe that's why.
So
It's right
some
here.
other
Tom Petty's Last Chance to Mary Jane, not formally considered thing Jayhawks, but they were opening for Petty and he ripped it off from him, supposedly.
Like, so another thing is that like they made that movie. Apparently, one of the stories they tell is that they wanted to make the movie and they had no money, so they shot a fake trailer and then shopped it around saying, "We have the movie mostly finished. We just need finishing money." And they showed the fake trailer, and the money that they got for finishing money was the actual money they used to make the actual movie. But then, so the other thing is like, so they made the movie and then they shopped it around, and they could not get a distributor, and so they got turned down by all the major companies, all these studios, whatever like that. Then South Park became a big hit, and they all came around like, "Hey, we want your movie," and they were like, "Fuck you," and they took it to Troma. And they gave it to Troma to distribute just as an FU to all of the big studios that turned them down.
This is one of the things Casey, friend of the channel here, posted today of one of your things that are always dichotomous with the woke. Is at work doing a project targeted at Saudi billionaires. I got to sit back and watch my progressive New York City coworkers squirm at whether or not they should include the female presenting people in the designs. The one Middle Eastern gay dude who should be able to weigh in was like, "Sorry, folks, I'm sitting this one out." But I mean, just go with Star Wars and how they'd take the black guy out of the posters when they would ship it over to China and all that sorts of stuff. Charles says, "Charles, how's your head doing? I hope it's doing good." I was thinking about that this week.
Oh yeah.
It's because they do it to dare you to notice, knowing the whole time that you will, giving them yet another opportunity to make it about them and virtue signal. And what a lot of people say, especially that Nerdotic channel says, is that's also a way to get unpaid for marketing nowadays. It's a way to almost kind of go viral.
Well, yeah. And it also, it's the hatchling is the half-assed postmodernist, basically. And nobody goes full postmodern. Like nobody truly thinks that words have absolute zero meaning. They just get selective about it. They're cafeteria postmodernists will pick and choose what has meaning.
Postmodernism for what I want to deconstruct.
Yeah,
not for me, the Dan McClellan thing.
Yeah, and so what they'll do is we all have a list of assumptions that we operate on, and they're all for the normies. It's just bare bones shit. Like it's all. There's an obvious thing that's one of our assumptions as to why I wouldn't date a guy in a dress. Because he's a guy and he has a dick. So we all have that assumption. They think that your baseline assumptions are flawed. So what they'll do is say that baseline assumptions as a concept are flawed and we should have none. But these are all the same people who will blame. What is the stupidest thing you've ever heard blamed on climate change?
The trans people in trans hookers. in Indonesia. Remember that one?
No.
Well, I mean, I've heard of stuff. I mean, you remember the great thing that picked off the so-called square hoax was them reading that feminist glaciology thing and talking about how masculinities is what's causing the global warmings and stuff like that. But
and
I guess
so-
that's what's causing global warming, not what global warming is causing.
So what I'm saying is that the normies have very simple baseline assumptions. Men stronger than women, therefore men shouldn't play in women's sports. Easy, we all got it. Just things that you can take for granted, and it makes society run a little bit smoother, and it makes us function so we don't have to get caught in the weeds doing this shit. But the baseline assumptions of all of the postmodernists are just insanely complex things like gender ideology or like climate change, and they just baselessly blame anything can be blamed on climate change, and anything that's not blamed on climate change is either blamed on white supremacy or patriarchy. And the Venn diagram of the people who blame things on climate change versus white supremacy versus feminism is damn near a circle, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, think of the stuff Greta Thunberg. I mean, now she's over in Cuba after all those years of it. Well, I guess first she was
She went to
all
Israel.
those years of climate change, then Israel, and now she's over there in Cuba.
Yeah, when she went to Israel, that was hilarious. The Israeli government has captured us. Meh. Like, no, they probably saved your life, okay? If only the Israeli government in the 80s would have gotten a hold of, what's her name? Pika Boca, that idiot French artist who went hitchhiking across the Middle East in a wedding dress and just in the first country got raped and strangled to death.
Yeah.
Like, she should have started in Israel, told somebody her plan, and they could have been like, we need to put you in a straitjacket.
It's so ridiculous. Did you guys hear that they went and like threw a concert there with that band Kneecap? And that they killed the power, and the power actually killed people on ventilators in the hospitals there.
I'm laughing.
But that's it's America's fault. It's the boycott from America. It's America.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Well, that's why Venezuela sucks, because of America.
Yeah.
Just so weird, because like, you know, when the evil Americans were using their imperialism to steal all their oil, Venezuela was a very wealthy country and had a robust middle class. And
They'll talk about like the sanctions that we place on these communist countries, and that's the reason they can't thrive. I'm like, okay, but here's a fact for you. Before, it wasn't Maduro. It was the one before him. Who's the one before him? Why can't I think of his name?
Chavez.
Yeah, Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez, before he seized the means of production, they were producing like mad. And the second the state seized the means of production went down like 100-fold. And that part of it, at the very least, has fuck all to do with American sanctions.
Yeah. Well, they started doing kind of what Mamdani in New York is doing, or California is doing, just a little bit of socialism, starting from like the maybe late 80s until Chavez took it over in the 2000s. But up until the 80s, they actually had like a higher per capita of living for everybody in that country than the United States. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Speaking of New York, there's not many funnier things I've ever seen than a side-by-side compilation of Kathy Hochul saying, like 4 years ago, like, fuck you, billionaires. We don't get the hell out of here. And now her like begging, it's your patriotic duty to come back here and pay for all this shit that I promised.
They're so goofy. Charles says, I found out today that I had the good kind of brain tumor, probably the same kind that your mom did, but recovery-wise, it gets a little better every day. She seems to be getting better every day too, but that's the exact type of brain tumor that I was talking about. They can like grow very slowly, like some benign tumors do, and so they get to a point that they're messing with you. But most people will just die having them in their heads their whole life. That's the exact type of brain tumor I say is going to kill Ryan Johnson, that dude who scans his body constantly, because he's going to go scan his body and find that there's like 4 of them in there, but they probably weren't going to ever do anything to him if he died at the normal age of 103, but he's going to go in and take him out and
he'll get him removed.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, good thing you have the good kind of cancer like Cardin.
Yeah, I guess. That's the type that Cara Burrell says is all good.
It's easy
Dan,
answer.
the Dan McClellan thing. I mean, I guess it all ties in. Troy had a good podcast with Colby on compatibilism, although it was better with Jonathan Streeter. Not that Troy, but I'm just saying it is the same presentation. But I don't know. It's good to see that some ex-Mormons like Colby are onto that stuff. But once again, it just brings up the areas of what we know of the ex-Mormon world and the people that you've got to take your arguments up with that aren't just the Mormons who believe in the book of gold, like these people who believe in the Dicodomicles. I found out I hadn't pulled it up in a while, so
I had to stop watching as soon as Troy started committing the steelman fallacy. So
oh, that's right. You started out saying you didn't even get back to your thing. You're kind of hitting at the thing that you're calling it a reductio ad absurdum fallacy, and it's just it's just an argument
technique. It's not a fallacy.
Yeah, which is a little bit of a thing that I noticed in that compatibilism thing, because Colby said one of the sure signs of seeing something could be a straw man is that they try to label out what the implications of a philosophy could mean. I'm like, no, that's doing philosophy, dude. And they were right. Troy shifted it over to saying, well, no, them assuming that you have that philosophy is a straw man. But no, going into the implications of what a philosophy is doing a philosophy. I had grok. I tried.
Yeah, if I tell you my philosophy is every second born son has to have his hands cut off at birth, and you say, well, that will result in less productivity and a lot more disabled people. I can't be like, you're straw manning my position.
You're doing the starts of the smell of a straw man. You're doing the starts of a smell of a straw man.
My philosophy is that I am the new CEO of Walmart, and all of our entrances have to be 8 feet off the ground with no stairs, and only people can climb through can get through. Well, sir, that actually might result in a lot less people are going to go to Walmart. You're straw manning my position.
I also think too, if you're just sitting there with your 6-shooter of fallacies to pull out when anybody's talking about anything, you're not really actually ever listening to anybody. If you're just sitting there doing that, like fallacy, you know, or that's the smelling's the start of a red flag of a fallacy. It's like, come on. But I tried to have Grok do like a list of making things a fallacy, because you guys were running on some jokes of saying it's the steelman fallacy. You gave me too much of a you said my position too well, or something like that. I can't remember the other ones you guys were saying, but I tried to have Grok do some, but it just actually kind of pointed out where it was kind of funny. I mean, you just like see him like here. It says the ad hominem fallacy says sometimes the person really is a smug midwit, and that matters. Strawman cousin fallacy, accusing someone of attacking a strawman when they're actually attacking the steelman of your position, and it's still dumb.
That was one of my favorite things ever.
That's a good one.
I don't even remember what the argument was, but it was way back in like 2015. Stefan Molyneux and Anna Kasparian were having some retarded back and forth. And he was totally right in his analysis. I wish I could remember what the argument was, but he says, I've never seen somebody set up a straw man to my argument, but then lose to it.
Risto says, I don't rely on philosophy. I just believe in true stuff and trust the science.
He's committed. Yeah, Risto, that's the Bailey and Mott fallacy that you just committed right there.
That's Reddit Risto. Appeal to popularity. It's actually popular for a reason. Billions of people can't be wrong. Sometimes they really can't. Slippery slope. The dismissal fallacy. This is one we all know. Rolling your eyes and saying that's a slippery slope, when the slope is actually greased with the precedent and current event. Yeah. False equivalent. Go ahead. What's that?
If we stand on this greased up slope, we might fall off the edge. Okay, that's a fallacy, dumbass.
False equivalence fallacy. Claiming two things are falsely equivalent when they're actually pretty damn equivalent. I feel like Grok is talking like a pretty damn. This one drives me the tu quoque fallacy. Accusing someone of a whataboutism when the whatabout is directly relevant and exposes the massive hypocrisy. That one drives me crazy.
That's just about every single time I've been accused of whatabout. It was just the other day when I hear these two guys talking. I'm pretty sure I brought it up on here before at work. and they're talking about Trump's police state, and they're like, "Yeah, and my dad was always telling me it would be the Democrats that did this," and I was like, "The Democrats did do it.
Yeah.
They did it very recently. In fact, the same Democrat we're dealing with did this. Tim Walz had the National Guard marching up and down the street shooting pepper balls at people for standing on their porch during COVID. That was way more police state than this. These people are at least being pepperballed for being obnoxious cunts, impeding law enforcement, and standing in front of fucking cars. And that's what aboutism. That's not what aboutism.
I like this one. Cherry picking fallacy. You're only picking convenient data. Yeah, because the inconvenient data is noise or fraud. But I actually think the one is saying you're only like, what is p hacking but eliminating the inconvenient things, right? So p hacking is your ability to pick out the things that I would cherry pick as things that counter signal the thing that you're claiming, right? So p hacking is a way to eliminate what would have been cherry picked by the cherry picker, and you can fake science through that.
Riso said, "Absurdo Latina fallacy. You are disqualified for using Latin."
Oh, I thought he was talking about my mom.
Anyway, but fallacy, sitting there thinking of fallacies. Chuck Norris could have been celebrated, but his politics may overshadow his legacy.
Show the latest Steve comment.
Yeah, that one was great.
Throw that up there.
The big one. I was listening to a medical doctor give a lecture. She said that she values data over dogma, but at the end she also said, "Trust your feelings."
her feelings is a data point.
I was going to say, she's being more true to Dan McClellan than Dan McClellan is.
And that's more true to postmodern standpoint epistemology, that your feelings are a data point.
Oh, I keep forgetting to mention, but I got a bail at 9.
No.
I got to be good about it. I got tapped for a special mission tomorrow.
Are you becoming James Bond?
No, I got to drive a big truck full of explosive gases to San Pete County.
What? Well, come on, man. Like we're going to replace you with an Indian, because an Indian would not only do the entire podcast, but they would also drive that truck.
Eating a biryani the whole way.
Yeah, it wouldn't even faze them a little bit.
Like, it's one thing to eat a taco while you're driving, but imagine eating rice.
Well, if you eat it with your hand, it's not that big of a deal.
I guess so, yeah.
Just eat it Mamdani style.
Let me see here. I'm going to show a picture of the aftermatch. We're going to keep. What's that?
Just his politics may overshadow his legacy. Only to you, you stupid asshole.
Oh yeah, that's a crazy part.
First off, let's not pretend like you ever liked him anyway.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, you liked them for the jokes. That was it, and the jokes were funny when we were teenagers, and for a week. But
I can't believe that I've been hearing Chuck Norris jokes for 35 years, and I heard the funniest one ever this week from Chris Hanna.
Oh yeah, that was Babylon B, I think.
Oh, was that Babylon B? Where did
they say it? I don't know. I heard it from some podcast because I heard them from 50 different.
Oh.
Everybody did a list of
it was
Chuck Norris jokes this week.
Chuck Norris once told a woman to calm down, and she did. That one actually made me laugh.
Yeah.
Look at this. Real quick, I've got footage of what happens if we keep flip to 901.
Yeah, that's what it look like.
The shadows are like.
He's gonna start talking like
I
this.
take my
So we got to stick to
Oh
that.
Jesus!
Oh yeah, that's it. The other day, I don't know, a few weeks ago, driving down I-15. I wish I had a picture of it, but I couldn't take a picture while driving down I-15. But I saw a big truck that on the back of it was some emblem written in, I'm assuming, Punjabi, and the emblem included 2 M16 rifle silhouettes. I was like, what the fuck is this?
They want you to take down the comment because it's blocking Flip's face.
And it's fine.
No, I just don't know this
Risto requested it.
Tell me. Yeah, it's good to tell me.
Sorry, go on. Did you look up the Punjabi?
Huck, what are you doing? The Punjabi. Am I looking up the Punjabi?
No, it was Flip was talking about the.
I am looking it up to see if I can find, like, it was just so weird to see just going down the road in America. Oh. No, Sikh, not sick, you dumb internet.
You know what's funny is I was talking to Morgan about this Chuck Norris drama. Like people saying, well, Chuck Norris is nice, but he was the troubled guy. He was controversial. Like, first off, no, he wasn't controversial. Like, if you would have asked me like a month before he died, who do you think Chuck Norris voted for? I'd be like, I probably Trump, but I honestly don't really remember him being a big part of Trump campaigns. Like now that I've been looking back, I've seen that he has campaigned for or somewhat, But the funniest part was I went off because I was talking to Morgan and she hears me just scream at the air all the time because I'm like, okay, you could be sad that he died. Like you could totally be sad because he said like 4 times, like, yeah, vote Donald Trump. He's gonna make America great again. He could be totally wrong about that, and you can say that guy's a fucking idiot for saying that. And then you could be like, but he's a big part of American culture, and he's great, and blah 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 blah. And then because that's what I did for Rob Reiner. Like I was very sad when Rob Reiner was stabbed to death by his son, partially because that's just a tragic thing to have happen, but also because I don't know. You think about 2 of the most important pieces of art in my life, or like any Mormon kid that grew up in the 90s, Princess Bride. Mormons fucking love Princess Bride. I still love it. It's got a special place in my heart. And the other piece of art that he's most famous for that I really love is the South Park episode where he stops people from smoking. Right? Still, and Rob Reiner was a fucking spurg on Trump. He was probably
Rob Reiner was on that episode of smoking, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was a huge spurg on Trump. He was full-blown retarded on Trump. I don't like using the TDS anymore because the boomers have gotten a hold of it and made it cringe and call anybody that says, I don't like this thing Trump did, deranged. But I will still use it for Rob Reiner because he was nuts. But man, I was sad when he died.
Yeah, it's sad what happened. And I will always like Stand By Me. And
yeah, but even if that wasn't what happened, even if he just died
Princess
of natural
Bride
causes peacefully, I'd have been really sad,
Trump did it again.
I'll always like I think he's an absolute idiot, and I will always love the Princess Bride. It does not kill the Princess Bride.
Trump did it again with Rob Mueller.
Oh yeah, that was that was worse.
Bro, just come on, like. Give it a week.
Well, it's funny because when people bring like the people at work that really, really, really want me to be a lefty, bring this stuff up to me. You see this shitty thing Trump says, like, yeah, he's shitty.
Yeah, not one of them won't say that the second Trump dies. Not one of them. Unless it's like Dick Cheney and 15 years pass and they have a new Hitler and they forgot Trump even existed.
Yeah.
We got to tie in Chuck Norris to Wilford Brimley, which ties into Mormonism. We always got to bring it back to Mormonism.
Fine, and it's little visitor now. Attaboyoli is how you say it in Cherokee.
Oh, well, pardon my French, but I'll be damned.
Walker told me I had AIDS.
What the fuck?
TV in the 90s.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wait, that's real though, right?
That's real. Yeah, it actually got famous from Conan O'Brien. He used to do Walker Texas Ranger clips. Yeah, you used to see the Conan O'Brien clips. But
man. Whew.
I gotta. You said you don't know what he said about politics. Well, I know that he was against the gay marriages and that sort of stuff. I think, but
yeah, I mean, I'm sure he was. I don't really care, right? Like, I guess I'm just so used to people talking about their politics, constantly spurging out about them and being in the mainstream light that. Like he kind of because like I've seen Kevin Sorbo say some stupid pro-Trump shit.
Here you go. Here's one. He was a bit spazzy.
Hi, I'm Chuck Norris, and this is my wife Gina. We are here to talk about a growing concern we all share. If we look to history, a great country and freedom are under attack. We're at a tipping point, and quite possibly our country as we know it may be lost forever if we don't change the course our country is headed.
With our country at a crossroads, Chuck and I have asked ourselves what we can be doing to help support this great country we're blessed to live in, and how we can encourage our like-minded American brothers and sisters to unite.
Thank you.
It is estimated that in the 2008 election, 30 million evangelical Christians went home on voting day, and Obama won the election by 10 million votes.
We know you love your family and your freedom as much as Gina and I do. And it is because of that we can no longer sit quietly or stand on the sidelines and watch our country go the way of socialism or something much worse.
Our only hope is for each of us to make sure we have not only registered to vote in the primary and the general elections for 2012, but to make sure our voices will be heard by casting our votes.
As Edmund Burke said, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men and women do nothing. The great President Ronald Reagan said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same.
President Reagan went on to say that you and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We will preserve for our children this last best hope for man on earth, or we will sentence them to take the first step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Troy asked if this was SNL. Like,
No,
nah,
this is real.
It would have been a lot less funny if it were SNL.
They do look like they're wearing wigs like on us.
1,000 years of darkness. I don't know. Maybe that's true. Maybe that is the start of 1,000 years of darkness. But yeah, that's a little bit Rob Reinery from the other end of stuff.
Yeah. Talking about politically active in the 90s, do you guys remember? I guess I'm sure Jared wouldn't. Do you remember like on Saturdays, like in the afternoon, Fox would air that hour-long NRA infomercial with Chuck Norris? Talking about how, not Chuck Norris, Charlton Heston, sorry. It was Charlton Heston talking about how they're going to take all the guns away.
I don't think I ever saw that.
I think I saw that thing 4 times over the years, just because, like I said, they used to just play it on Saturday afternoon on Fox, on, not cable Fox, terrestrial broadcast Fox. And I always remember thinking like, yeah, that's pretty out there, guys. Because they kept talking about Australia. Australia took all the guns.
Man,
Yeah.
what must it have been like before all celebrities became educated and liberal and correct? Or stayed silent?
The such thing. There was that for a long time. It was like a thing where like they stayed out of stuff. Like Lucille Ball never mouthed off about politics.
You know that Jared Bauer dude from the first creator of Wisecrack before he sold it off to a bunch of commies?
No.
You don't know that dude? He's done a lot of really good episodes because Wisecrack used to be really funny, especially when he was running it. And
Really?
he did a really good episode this week on how he thinks South Park's jumped the shark on. And this is kind of a general lefty-ish dude. He's a non-psycho lefty. He just barely 7 months ago, Jared Bauer, why I stopped watching the South Park.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that. I saw you shared it.
Yeah, but he's just basically saying the same thing, that they're just like getting into the point of being like, okay, now it's just let's cover everybody from like the deep bench of Donald Trump every single stinking week and stuff like that. And this is a left-leaning guy who's been a South Park lover for years, says Trey Parker's zero, but he says you can't watch these seasons because they've just fallen into the Rob Reiner category, and actually compares it to Rob Reiner's episode and all that sort of stuff.
I actually haven't. I watched the first 2 episodes maybe of recent South Park.
Yeah.
And it was just, and again, the people that want me to be lefty at work keep telling me it's awesome. I need to watch. I was like, but I don't know. That first episode wasn't that good.
They're
It
not
was
that good. Like
just
there's a couple episodes that I liked better the second time I watched them.
But he makes
In the South Park movie, there was a character named Gregory. Gregory was polished, articulate, and touted elite elementary school credentials.
I must say, I don't think I belong with these rogues. I attended school at Yardale and had a 4.0 grade point average. Yeah.
He was also an insufferable blowhard who only talked about politics.
The American government thinks it has the right to police the world.
It was his entire personality. Fast forward 26 years. South Park premieres its 27th season with its most successful episode in decades. Trump is portrayed as a Middle Eastern dictator having an affair with Satan, culminating in a now iconic segment full of wonderfully tasteless below-the-belt insults. The episode was celebrated as a much-needed defiant anti-censorship statement at a moment when the White House was exerting unprecedented pressure on media companies. South Park's return was glorious and hilarious until, at least for me, it wasn't. Over the next 9 episodes, every goon in Trump world was taken down a notch. J.D. Vance, Charlie Kirk, Kristi Noem, Melania, Don Jr., Peter Thiel, Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi, Stephen Miller, Brendan Carr, Dan Scavino? Who the hell is Dan Scavino?
Jesus.
Yes, South Park has been criticizing politicians and Trump for years, but this time it hit different. This time it felt like, wow, this is only funny if you're addicted to the news cycle. And
It's a good episode on that. And
like that's one thing that I never understood about is like I can understand maybe why they didn't bring back Garrison as Trump, because like I loved the Garrison as Trump thing. Like that was funny. That was really good. Because like the last season wasn't bad because I've got any soft feelings for Trump or Republicans. It just it wasn't satirical. It was just kind of fuck that guy, which is like, I mean, South Park does a lot of that. Except that they're usually clever about it. Yeah, like
Well, that's the thing.
like it's just not clever.
That's what I said about. I remember when I first started getting into stand-up comedians. I really liked Patton Oswalt quite a bit. Going back and revisiting it, they don't hold up super well. But I remember after his wife died, being like, I bet this stand-up's going to be really, really good, and I bet it's actually going to make me feel something. And he didn't say anything about it. He just talked about Trump, and it was more disappointing with how not clever it was. He just said, Mr. Cheeto Dust Fingers Small Dick. I was like, you are exactly as funny as like my liberal aunt on Facebook. Like that's how funny you are.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You stole her joke.
He said the first episode back was funny, and I was just kind of like, I was with some friends with my band, and they were saying, "Oh my gosh, that was so funny." I'm like, "Yeah." After 10 years, South Park's here to say Orange Man has a small pee-pee. They got him. They got him.
Yeah.
But if anybody could turn it around, it's them for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
They've been more faith. Yeah, they've been way more consistent.
I have more faith in South Park than most things.
Oh yeah.
Steve just mentioned this. I was just watching the latest episode of The Pit. Did you guys see this? The Pit.
I only heard about it.
Here's a clip from it.
Hold on, she needs to sleep.
It's only take a minute. Relief. Hey man, you're hurting her. Jesus Christ, what's going on now?
Bobby? No! You can't do this!
What the hell is going on?
You hurt her and Jesse stepped in!
Oh, yeah, I didn't do shit. I know. Relax. We gotta go. Don't say anything. You don't have to say anything. They can't make you say anything. We'll get you an attorney. I promise we'll get you out. Call the hospital attorney again.
I can't believe this shit!
Can you at least tell us where you're taking them? Is there a detention center near Pittsburgh? That's got to be where they're going, right?
Could be hours before he's processed. I'll stay on it.
I gotta say, the acting in that was a touch better than the Chuck Norris thing we just watched. So there's that.
1.1% higher.
Yeah. There's a lot of directors' daughters in that scene, though, for sure.
Well, the good thing is they'll never touch our fantasy. They'll never get into that stuff like Harry Potter. And what we got going on now is, I guess, we get to have Lord of the Rings updated by Stephen Colbert.
What is that? Why him?
So he is a huge Lord of the Rings fan. He actually knows a shit ton about the Silmarillion. He knows a lot more about it than I do. He's a super fan. I trust that he knows the source material more. And I will say, in his defense, he wants to do 6 because they didn't include Tom Bombadil in the movies, and he kind of wants to include that.
Wasn't Tom Bombadil like he's on like 2 pages? I don't remember him being a.
No, he's in like a full 2 chapters.
No, it's like
I think.
Chapters.
And so what they're doing is they're taking 6 chapters from the Fellowship and explaining what happened with it. And this is supposed to be like 16 years after Frodo leaves. There's Sam and Merry and Pippin. They kind of just go on a nostalgic trip to retrace their steps. And of course, Sam's daughter like uncovers a secret to why the quest.
So they're not even doing Tolkien material. It's fanfic.
Well, okay, so I think it's gonna be there's gonna be like flashbacks. So what?
It's fanfic. No, there's gonna be added stuff because it's the future, right? It's the future.
Yeah, well, so it's in the future, but it sounds like they're talking about several chapters that were covered.
In the future, after Frodo's death, the 3 remaining hobbits go and try to track down where they found like Tom Bombadil's house and all that sorts of stuff. So they're going to be flashing back, remembering the first part of their trip, which was kind of skimmed over in Peter Jackson's stuff, which I noticed Nerdotic also already pointed out that the stuff in the Lord of the Rings happens out of order, but they're just like quick flashes, but it's not in order of the book. But as they go on that trip, they bring Samwise's daughter with them, and she discovers some sort of history that says she's the key to everything. And she discovers something that would have made the whole thing not work from the start if somebody, I'm guessing some girl boss, didn't save the whole entire mission underneath everybody's noses. Fan fiction, right?
I will say people are making fun of him for trying to make an entire movie out of just 6 chapters. But in his defense, Peter Jackson already made an entire movie out of 3 pages of The Hobbit.
Yeah.
The last Hobbit movie is seriously, I don't remember how many pages, but it's not chapters, it's pages.
Yeah, pretty bad.
He says he's writing it with his son, who is a screenwriter, and you look it up, and he's the screenwriter of one thing, which is this. So he's now a screenwriter.
It's like Tobias Funke calling himself an actor.
Yeah, exactly. But then the other thing is a couple things that people talked about is, first off, the Warner Brothers or whatever that owns it, they have to release some sort of crap every so often, and they lose the ability to do it. So they're kind of forced in these positions of dumping out shit. But secondly, this might be another little political move that might not be what people realize is happening. But who's purchasing Warner Brothers? Paramount. Oh, so Peter Jackson picks up Stephen Colbert from Warner Brothers, and Paramount gets him. It's an FU to Ellison, who's buying up Paramount and firing Colbert.
Yeah, my first reaction to this news was, for the love of God, give him his terrible show back.
Yeah. So
I would rather him make another vaccine musical.
Anyway, but then the Snape stuff, I mean, we've already gone off on that. I mean, that's coming up, but how are they supposed to, like, in the trailer of the thing, it says it's got Hagrid saying to Harry, your parents were the best, most kind, most beautiful people I know. How are they going to pull that off to millennials when they lynch Snape? How are they going to do that? How are those black and white little shitheads going to think they're anything but Nazis who must be fried in a fire?
They're gonna make a racial aspect to it. They're also, I bet anything,
or
gonna
just
make a racial,
downplay it, like,
well, I bet
not
they're gonna
having to get hung in a tree or...
But I bet they're also gonna make a racial aspect of Hermione, because Hermione is brown in this, and she's frequently called a mudblood in the books because neither of her parents are wizards, so she is a mudblood. Yeah. And I hope they had the balls to call her that.
Anyway, they're on the screen there because we're talking about Hollywood stuff. We only got flipped for 10 more minutes. So I wanted to get into what your name is, recovered memory stuff. Jonah Barnes actually did a very, very good series. This series here, this Fact or Fiction over on Radio Spiritual Abuse. The series is really impressive. It's really impressive on how it goes over like the history of different claims people made in the Satanic Panic, what happened in the trials of the Satanic Panic, and how it moved to Utah, and how Utah went extra crazy around the Satanic Panic. And it's really done. It's like just chock full of like little tidbits and all the little information of the things that happen. And obviously he's motivated to do this because he was getting into it with that same guy we were talking about from that Utah Change episode, who said there was serial ritual abuse. Then that lady had been impregnated underneath the temple 7 different times, and that guy believed her, and Cardin hadn't on to talk about it. But I mean, this is really good. I mean, I don't know how much farther they'll go, what they get into, but the 3 episodes they did on this is just probably the best condensed version of the Satanic Panic that I actually got to live through a little bit there. What recovered memories? I mean, it gets into a little bit of the recovered memories and what's the Glenn Pace?
Yeah, the Glenn Pace memo.
Yeah, and how that guy just believed all the recovered memories and just said it wasn't an investigation, didn't look into it, just said, I believe these guys. And then it went into detail about the way the different lawyers kind of coached the kids into believing up the same things.
It's one of those things, like, it just bugs me about how nobody learns anything ever. Because, like, I swear that by 1995, like, John Stossel or somebody did an expose about how recovered memory works and how it's, like, obviously it's being coached by these therapists. But, like, you know, like everything John Stossel does, it just gets ignored. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like, nobody cares. Nobody listens. Nobody pays attention. You know, but
it's funny. The recovered memory thing is hilarious to me because that was like mainstream psychology doing that. And I'm just me and all the lefty progressive people who are capable of critical thought, we are all so grateful that we figured it out. Like, thank God mainstream psychology now has it figured out. Like we don't have anything left to figure out. We're not wrong like we were then using pseudoscience bullshit.
Yeah. Troy was asking what my name meant, and that came from an article that came out today. And I just listened to some crazy feminist talk about it called Alpine Divorce. So I called myself Alpine Henry VIII because it's this dumb article right here. Women are being abandoned by their hiking partners on hiking trails. What's behind Alpine Divorce? And I listened to this podcast of this feminist talking about it, and she said, all these people are saying, like, how often does that actually happen? Is it actually a trend? And I say, how dare you ask? Like, why would you even ask that sort of question? If it's not you, why do you even care? There's literally groups out there, therapy groups for women to do this. I couldn't find any. I tried to look them up, but I've heard there's literal groups out there of women doing this stuff. And if ever there was a thing that wasn't a thing, I'm sure a dude or two did this to their girlfriends, you know. But it's basically women going on hikes, and then the guys divorce them by hiking faster than them and leaving them in the mountain, sometimes to die, sometimes just to divorce them. I guess. So you can read about that on the Guardian.
Morgan didn't get my name.
Yours is Wesley Snipes.
Okay. She was trying to.
Oh, does she know Wesley Snape?
She didn't know Wesley Snipes. And so anytime I get an idea for a name, I don't want to forget it, so I text it to Morgan, and I was like, "Get it?" She's like, "No." And I sent a picture of Snape. I was like, "Snape." I sent a picture of Wesley Snipes, and then a picture of new Snape. And I was like,
and she doesn't get it because she doesn't see color.
And she's like, "What's the
she's
joke?"
She's looking at Alan Rickman. She's looking at Wesley Snipes, and she's like, "What?"
I was like, "What do you mean?
Two actors?"
Yeah, I was like, he's an actor. She's like, "Okay, and what does he have to do with Snape?" Well, nothing. But he's black, like the other guy, and Snape sounds like Snipes, you know. So I changed it, and it's like Wesley Snipes and Snape.
And at that point on your hike, you just started going faster and said,
"I know,
I'm gone."
She told me my joke. Yeah. She's like, you know, I probably would have laughed if I knew actors. Like, shut up. It's not funny.
Stuff to give it a flip this week. Any more follow-up? We saw all the think pieces from the people who said, I can't believe I have to say this out loud, but reactive abuse does not make someone an abuser. Saying that,
I have heard reactive abuse so many times. I'm excited to hear Natasha Helfer say it.
Taylor Frankie Paul must certainly be innocent.
So the last couple of weeks, I've been re-listening to classic Mormon Expression episodes. And today I listened to the one where they did the top 10 Mormon criminals. And they did Brian David Mitchell. And that episode had a couple of the feminists on there. And they were saying that Wanda Barzee was more of a victim than a perpetrator because men victimize women. That's literally what they say. Like, Just I don't know. Like she had to be a victim. She had to be because men bad, women good.
Well, it's just like with the Cuban stuff. Like everything's America's fault at the end, no matter what. Ultimately, it's all ultimately a man's fault. Even if she was being upset, maybe it's because her boss didn't pay her enough money, and that's part of the patriarchy. Because we're just swimming in so much patriarchy all around.
A little bit later in the episode, they did Rachel Longo, who was a woman who threw her children off of the 11th floor of the old Shiloh Inn, whatever it was called.
I remember that. Yeah.
But like, and they were weirdly quiet. Like, hey, where was the man telling her to do that?
Gage, and this is Life Take Two. Hey everyone.
Oh, this lady. Oh fuck. I seriously.
I dislike her already.
No, I found this channel. It just popped up because I was looking up Taylor Frankie Paul shit, and now she keeps getting recommended to me. Every single thing every video she starts by saying, "I'm a former Mormon, a former MAGA supporter, and a former white supremacist."
Yeah.
Wait, what? You were a white supremacist? And
You're,
it's funny because
you're a
she sounds,
Mormon Republican.
Yeah, she sounds like Robin DiAngelo. She's like, yeah, I used to think black people were sacks of shit, and I would avoid them and discriminate against them. Now I know they're better than us.
Well, she at least says that Taylor Frankie Paul needs to take some accountability, at least like once in there. But then, of course, all the rest of it's the patriarchy and the patriarchy causing it all.
The second and third chair were her fault, but the first one was justified.
Oh man, the justifications coming out for that stuff is unreal.
But it's funny because if you listen to that whole thing, the guy, and so me and Morgan like watching trash TV, so we've watched a lot of this stupid Mormon.
You need to show her Blade. You need to put that one into the.
Honestly, I need to because I've also never seen Blade.
It's a classic. Like it's definitely
Blade's
a dumb
pretty
show.
good.
Yeah, like I mean, it's cheap and it's cheesy as hell, but goddamn, it's entertaining.
Did you hear all the lore of like how they couldn't get the reboot done?
No,
because they were trying to do the thing of Blade turns out to not actually be the hero; it's actually a girl boss, and they wouldn't do it, and they got to a point that they say, "Hey, we're not doing this."
That's annoying because I was actually kind of excited to see that because I really like that actor, the Mashhad Ali
I can't
guy.
say his name, but yeah, he's a good pick for it. Yeah, Nerdotic's gone into much detail about like what the supposed script was and how they crashed out on it because it backburnered Blade just like they do to everything, like they did to He-Man, like they did to. You remember that whole thing with Kevin Smith and he was rebooting He-Man and people said, "We heard that this has He-Man disappear," and then what's her name, Sheila or the other gal, rises to be the hero, and he says, "No, they do not." He had this whole campaign, like even like took down some Twitter channels for saying it, and then you watch it in the first episode, He-Man dies and she takes over.
She-Ra takes over.
Yeah. So stupid. I mean, that's just what they did to put a chick in it, make it lame and gay. Jacob's talking about taking down Thoughtful Saints. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I just listened to Matt Fradd and Pints of Aquinas put up another thing taking down a bunch of their shorts on Mormonism, just barely released like an hour ago.
Yeah, he's been talking about this a lot lately. Like, I wonder if his church leaders are talking to him, or if because something's happened for sure where he's had several posts in the past day or two referencing this. Like, what if we change the name of the group? What should it be? People like, what the fuck are you talking? I don't care. Keep it the same. And
I think he just wants the distance from it.
I know, but I'm trying to figure out why.
Because he thinks he's moving into the next level of.
I think so.
Apologist stuff. Because like he obviously wants to make it his full-time career. Like,
well, on that Pints of Aquinas Matt Fradd thing today, they said that he's the number one. He said they said he's the number one apologist for Mormons right now. Said maybe Hayden Carroll a little bit too, and that's coming from the Daily Wire's channel of who the top Mormon apologists are. Yeah. So, like I said, I wonder if the church is going to be down with that becoming the internet consensus. But
he should just give the administrative keys to the group to Divas.
Yeah.
I recommended Forrest.
Troy said he left it quietly a few weeks ago because it's a waste of time. I've been far less active on there. I haven't seen much that is
Was it true?
like
It's
my
just
interest.
Trinity,
as of
Trinity,
late.
Trinity, 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 Trinity,
Oh,
Trinity.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
They've been
been
talking
Trinity
about
stuff
that. They've
lately.
been. I don't even engage with the
boring.
interfaith apologetics shit. I'm like, I don't care. If you guys get onto something remotely interesting, maybe I'll engage with you. But I haven't really done a
Yeah.
whole lot.
I mean, because that's the thing, like we talked about last week. There's only so many topics in Mormonism, and eventually you go through them all. You know.
Yeah, I guess kind of just like the ex-Mormonism.
Especially like, yeah, I mean, with ex-Mormonism, there's a lot more to talk about because there's a lot more you can talk about. But even then, eventually you reach the bottom, you know. But like, yeah, from a faithful perspective, like, how you can bash Catholics and evangelicals, like that's pretty much all there is.
Yeah, and I guess they're just doing that now all willy-nilly, and I think that kind of bores the majority of the rest of us over here.
Huckleberry got a Huckleberry Snacks.
Yeah, he's been on it. He also accidentally bit my finger playing fetch today, so I'm working injured here. I can barely click.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe Thoughtful Saints is going away. We've seen a ton of stuff there. Jacob said he hadn't been active in there for years. It's like it's been maybe 6 months. It's been since the Trent Horn debate that he got too big for it. You know what I mean? I don't know how long ago that was, like a year ago. But yeah, people say he's distancing himself from some opinions in there he probably had before, but who knows? I don't know what. But yeah, he's moving upward and onward in the world.
Yeah. I don't know. Like being successful at apologetics is like being successful at, I don't know, what's the word? I can't think of the word all of a sudden. Selling things on infomercials. You know, it's like, oh, good for you, I guess, but shouldn't be proud. Like you're basically a carnival barker.
Well, here's one cringe lord of the week. This guy posted on his line, and this is an ex-Mormon being cringe, I would say. It says, "You're interacting with the highest baptizer my mission has ever seen. You're interacting with someone who had very high callings in your church. I understand the doctrine."
All right, that was good. I'm gonna end it there.
Ha, you
Alrighty.
chump. He kept you an extra 4 minutes.
I know, they do it every time.
I caused the wreck.
See ya.
Charlie says it's sad to revisit my old local Exmo group and see all the same people complaining about the same old shite. Yeah, I guess all the stuff's getting tired unless people are new to it or something. But who is the? Do you know who the champ baptizer was on your mission?
No.
There was two guys who were psycho super baptizers on my mission, and I guarantee whoever that guy is, they weren't those guys. Like those two guys were famous for getting up at like 4 a.m. and getting out on the street at 9 a.m. and running through companions, and in like 3-4 weeks, the other companions wouldn't even get mad at him. They were just kind of like, the guy's just intense, man. He just goes. They were like supersonic. I don't know if you'd call it what's that word for OCD for Mormonism or something like that, but they were scrupulosity. They were out there, and they were out there hard, and they were sprinting and running on everywhere, and they were baptizing like way more than everybody else. And there was 2 of them, and I bet you since like 25 years there's been 20 more. You know. So
yeah, I wasn't even, I was probably like bottom percentile baptizer. I think I was single digits. I can't even remember.
I hit right at the averages by the end, but I had months where I was up and I had months where I was down, and there was real pressure on my mission on those months where you were down. You were a free throw lazy.
Oh yeah, I had no months where I was up, and even when I was not lazy, because my first year I was not lazy. I obeyed all the rules my first year. But like even then, I'm such a bad salesman, and I have a hard time counting. Like when you'll go, there's like a semi kind of active family, and you reactivate them for like, I don't know, probably a couple months, and one of their kids is 9. So they
Yeah,
get
and then you get to
baptized by their
baptize them.
dad or something.
I think I got a couple of those.
You get to count that as your I never counted those because I was like, they're gonna stop going to church in like 6 months anyway.
Did you count them in like your numbers and stuff that you have to report numbers and all that?
Yeah, I counted them in my numbers, but they didn't spiritually count to me. I just didn't care. I was a terrible missionary.
I don't know why, but I felt the pressure. I felt the pressure to keep up and be up, or I was some sort of freak. But I also felt like being hardcore about it. I felt it was cheating to be a personality baptizer. So with my different companions, I think I could even bring one on to verify it. When I was around like the people I was teaching, I'd almost kind of like how I do at work. I'd put on my work face and my away for like, and so people would be surprised I had some sort of sense of humor or something, because if I was doing the baptism stuff, it was like, nope, we're just going to be straight and by the cord. We're not here to schmooze them and butter them up and make them like us, you know? And so people thought that they would say, are you some sort of doctor or lawyer or something like that? I'm like, no, I think you're not supposed to make people like you to baptize them or something like that. But, that didn't help, because I think it would have helped. Like, you could have been the type to schmooze them in Mexico. It would have worked.
Oh, yeah.
But not so much. Well, probably the same in Brazil.
It was, so I was in southern Brazil. It's still higher baptizing in America or Europe, but it's lower baptizing than the rest of Brazil and South America.
Yeah, Mexico City was pretty picked over when I was there. I asked Grok to see what a Redditor who was way into fallacies looked like. I get pulled down. No, this one was ChatGPT.
That was ChatGPT, yeah.
Which was surprising. It was surprising ChatGPT made a funny one out of it. And then 3 curmudgeons whining about the Redditor pointing out the logical fallacies in the logical fallacy book. That brings us to, I guess, Dan McClellan. Did you see the whole short and post that the Ward Radio made of that guy talking about how humanities isn't data type stuff?
No, I don't think so.
You didn't see that one? Huck, what are you doing? Come on.
I don't know, man.
You don't know? Well, we had a whole longer episode. It's that Ether's Elephant dude who I guess is a doctor, some sort of got his doctorate in some sort of STEM thing or something like that. And he did a whole episode with Ward Radio about how Dan McClellan is, I mean, they were subtexting, but they were definitely talking about Dan McClellan. Dan McClellan, he tries to make it sound like he's doing science when he's talking about his stuff, and it's not science. Let me see if I pull it up here. Here we go.
The data pretty firmly points in the opposite direction of a historical book.
They aren't.
Oh, come on.
The data pretty firmly points in the opposite direction of a historical Book of Mormon.
And some of these scholars,
like real science,
talk as if they're scientists, and I have a problem with it, because they're the conclusions they make oftentimes in a scientific field would never be warranted. Biblical studies rely on historical, textual, and interpretive methods, not empirical testing like physics or biology. Okay, in scholarship, you're not testing hypotheses. You're not running experiments in the same way that scientists do.
Correct.
And yet, then this is my biggest critique of many scholars. The way that they talk about this stuff online is using language
like data
that sounds like it's science when it's scholarship.
Like the data,
for example,
does not support.
The data do not or do support.
Is supported by the data, not supported by the data. To not be sufficiently supported by the data.
Maybe that's technically true, but for a lay audience who's just watching that, does that not have a scientific connotation?
It's so funny. Mr. Croissant says, guys, can you please have somebody watch the video of Joe Rogan showing someone the Blade intro? It's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it. I'll have to look it up.
I'll look for it, and you can keep going.
Well, I just call it because Dan is for sure a postmodernist, deconstructionist, Foucauldian type interpreter, and it's so funny because it seems counterintuitive that these postmodernists who were skeptical of science always frame their stuff in this scientific way, and it goes back to Lacan. Lacan. Just look at it here at Google. Lacan frequently employed technical scientific terms, particularly from mathematics, topology, and physics, not to make psychoanalysis and natural science, but as a formal operators to structure the unconscious language in the real. He utilized concepts like topological knots, mathematical limits, and set theory to illustrate that structure is real and converges toward improbability. Topology. No, it was to sound like he was doing MIT studies. You know, it was not at all because it was good. It was to make his bullshit sound. He was jealous of the people over at MIT, and it was to make his bullshit sound like he was doing super high technical, high super brain stuff. So if you've ever heard of Alan Sokal, which you might have heard of because the hoaxes that James Lindsay and those guys did were called Sokal Squared. And the Sokal affair was the first time that the postmodernists got the Sokal affair. The first time the postmodernists got tricked was by Alan Sokal. It was in the 90s, 96, the Sokal affair. And some people say, oh, those guys just repeated what Sokal did.
Of course, he's a physics professor. Of course, he was actually a STEM-brained guy. He was probably really smart, too, because a lot of these types, a lot of the intellectual types, they do just seem like midwits offended by smart people.
Well, and they talk like Deepak Chopra stuff, and this is what Sokal, figured out. So the first hoax that he ever did is he got something accepted in, and he wrote this article called Transgressing the Boundaries Towards the Transformative Hermeneutics of Quantum Gravity.
That title. Holy shit. All right.
And so he was able to just completely scandalize him.
Wait. Go up a sec.
Mm-hmm.
No, down a little bit. In an interview on the U.S. radio program All Things Considered?
Yeah.
No fucking way. I know. I take for granted when you guys tell me that NPR used to be decent. But holy shit. He's talking about his bogus article where he totally upends like peer-reviewed bullshit on an NPR program. That sounds just inconceivable to me. That's insane.
94 is very conceivable.
Jesus.
Stuff used to not be so stupid. But I mean, you can go back and see Noam Chomsky ripping apart postmodernists for like how garbled and full of shit they were all the time. But definitely in the early 90s, you know that like Judith Butler won an award for the worst writing ever or something like that too.
God,
and
from who? Because holy shit, did we peak in the 90s? I mean, I think
yes,
we did that a few times. It feels like we had the perfect amount of technology, and maybe I'm just saying that because that's where I grew up. But I'm like, man, I kind of miss being bored. I kind of miss not having my phone with me. It's kind of there's something amazing about the technology of like MP3 players because you could listen to music anywhere you wanted, and you could choose the music, but you had to plan it out. You had like 500 songs you could shuffle through. So you had to be selective in what you chose. And you didn't really get stuck in choice paralysis, especially if you bought what I now think is one of the most brilliant inventions for the human spirit as far as technology goes. And I thought was really stupid at the time, the iPod Shuffle. I thought the iPod Shuffle was so dumb when it came out because it doesn't have a screen, so you can't choose what song's coming next. And now I'm like, no, that's awesome. It's better than radio because it's not just a genre you like. It's just songs that you hand selected that you like, and it's going to just play you whatever's next. Just listen to it. You like all of these songs, just listen to them.
My friends and I get nostalgic for like the radio where if you wanted to capture the song that you wanted, you had to sit there with a recorder and try to catch it right at the beginning. And then even the one you recorded sometimes had the stupid DJs talking over the first 15 seconds of it.
Oh,
And then you always remember that song with that first 15 seconds of whatever that DJ was saying on that song that you captured. But we're nostalgic for it. We're nostalgic for it. We had to sit and wait for it. You had to sit through all the other shitty songs that would come through, or you'd hear it on the radio and you'd try to sprint over to your thing to record it and you couldn't record it on time.
Oh, and there weren't ads absolutely everywhere. Like I tried to replicate this because I went to last year. I remember I went to this Chinese restaurant that my family used to get food from to go a lot. And I picked some up for me and Morgan, and I went and sat in there and I realized I had left my phone at home. So when I got in the restaurant, I was like, I don't have my phone. And then all of a sudden, everything came flooding back to me because I sat in this exact seat when I was 16 years old. And I was just like, I'm just supposed to think right now. I'm just supposed to look and observe the world around me. So then a couple months later, I was like, I need to try to do that again. So when I fill up my gas, I'm not going to get back in my car. I'm not going to take out my phone. I'm just going to fill up my gas. I'm going to lean against my car. I'm going to look at the stars. I'm going to watch the cars go by because I like the sound of cars going by. And I'm looking up there at the stars, and as soon as the gas starts pumping, join the Maverick Adventure Club, and you can. I was like, no, fuck you. No.
You can't escape them.
Yeah, you're everywhere. It's idiocracy. I'm going to be wearing a Verizon shirt in a month.
Yeah, we're actually on the same plane because I was actually just thinking that earlier when my dog bit my finger completely on accident. We were playing fetch and he grabbed the stick at the same time I was grabbing it. But I was walking through the neighborhood I grew up in, which I've actually got some slides because they're tearing down the church that I grew up in, which has everybody depressed. A bunch of people showed up for like this meeting just this last Friday to all say goodbye to this church, which still looks perfectly good. They just don't have enough people around to go to it anymore or something like that. But just walking around the neighborhood I grew up in, I walked past houses that I didn't spend much time at, but being LDS or whatever, there was days like I'd end up at that house at some point. I'd end up at that house at some point. I remember a day hanging out here with these guys, and it's just like so crazy how like I can just like think back to all these different days that I spent in all these different houses, and I try to remember like, what was I worried about at that time? What was I thinking about?
I know.
I remember I had a water fight on the street one time. What was I stressed out on that day of like, did I have some homework assignment that was eating at me or something? It sure wasn't stupid Iran or, something like that, or Mormonism, whatever. But I mean, everybody was Mormon around it. I've got the clip of Wesley Snipes, so we'll pull it up here in a second. But just to get back to this, yes, Judith Butler won first prize in the bad writing contest in 1998, competition organized by the Journal of Philosophy and Literature. So that once again, it's not just like the Matt Walsh show giving her an award for bad writing. It's the Journal for Philosophy and Literature for the most stylistically lamentable passages found in scholarly books and articles. The winning passage was a 94-sentence in a 1997 Diacritics article. Judith Butler, what was the sentence? Oh, why do I always type that? Oh, come on. Here is the sentence. The move from a structuralist account in which capital is understood to structure social relations in relatively homologous ways to a view of hegemony in which power relations are subject to repetition, convergence, and rearticulation brought the question of temporality into the thinking of structure and marked a shift from a form of Althusserian theory that takes structural totalities as theoretical objects to one in which the insights into the contingent possibility of structure inaugurate a renewed conception of hegemony as bound up with the contingent sites and strategies of the rearticulation of power.
Okay, so I actually remember you showed me this like 3 years ago when I first started coming on this, and I remember what I said. I said something along the lines of, "Oh, so she said nothing," and I'm glad that I've had the chance to grow and learn more about postmodernism, because now what I would say is the same fucking thing. He said nothing.
Yeah. But I mean, just get back to the thing of what those guys are saying to back them up, which is it's always like those swords, because like they're saying like you can't take what Dan McClellan is saying there, but you know, it's not to say that maybe it's true that the Book of Mormon is a 19th century piece of work or something like that, but the way Dan says it is so douchey, wrapped up in this.
Everything about him is douchey. It's just, that's the perfect word to describe him. As I haven't used the word douche for a long time, but yeah, douchey.
It's just wrapped up in this like I am the expert and I use all the I am the expert and I have the expertise, but at the same time, no words mean anything unless I'm here, the expert, to break it down for you, because I am the true structuralist who can break that down for you. But it's post-structuralism for you, because if you believe anything from your scripture or book, I can deconstruct it of why it doesn't mean that. But then anything that I want to mean, like if Trump says something is a bloodbath, I can tell you structurally why he was actually talking about genocide and not about bad economic quarter, you know, or something like that. But he's just such a douche about it. But this is the douchiness. What I'm saying goes all the way back to Lacan and the postmodernists, that they both have the epistemology of being skeptical of Western science because it's the white man raping the earth, as some of them called it, or something like that. But at the same time, they want to sound like MIT scientists. And this original Alan Sokol affair just ripped on how stupid the lingo was. So James Lindsay kind of goes into some detail about this, of when he had to do the new affair. He tried it at first like this, just doing straight gobbledygook, and then he realized that 20 years later he couldn't just do the gobbledygook anymore. He realized that he had to just make it social justice framed horsepucky. You know what I mean? Like it was less gobbledygooky and more just, oh my gosh, these dogs having sex in this dog park shows you how we live in a patriarchy, you know, type stuff. And so, but back in the day, in the original parts of it, they were so flagrantly trying to display themselves as MIT super hard scientists who can tell you what is what and what isn't what. And that guy's right. The guy, the Ethers Elephant dude, is right. It's the humanities and divinity school aren't STEM. You know, that's all there is to it.
But we really want him.
There's some hard truths in, like, if there's archaeology that exists, or a thing exists, or something like that, the archaeology of something, you know, or what actually is there in the text, that sort of deal. But the interpretation of it, Dan McClellan is not the gatekeeper of that. Troy says this is all rhetorical prophylaxis in defense of your beneficent patriarchal hegemony. 100%. I was just dethroned by the Dan McClellan Troy Dan McClellan to me, and I've been cut short.
Well,
Man.
but in his defense, he did rhetorical prophylax him first.
You can't rhetorical prophylax me.
I grow tired of your blithe rhetorical prophylaxis and your privilege-preserving epistemic pushback. Good day to you, sir.
Privilege preserving epistemic pushback. That's the type of thing that I want to say. Like Colby, again, Colby's doing his whole thing. Let's disagree, and he's going into the hard things about categorization, going back all the way to Aristotle and how you're able to identify things and categorize things. Guess what all of the postmodernists are doing? All categories are power plays. All identities are power plays. All identification. And if you try to go back and say, no, we can sort things out by the way humans sorted things out, they say, no, it is just privilege preserving.
Grow tired of your
pushback.
blithe rhetorical prophylaxis and your privilege preserving epistemic pushback.
Privilege preserving epistemic pushback to categorize things as we categorize them. And when they were initially categorized, it wasn't through observation, scientific observation done without what's the term that we use? A disinterested observation of an objective view. No, it was done by a power structure, an episteme of a power structure of people who were usually the capitalists and the religious people. They decided on those categories. It was a top-down conspiracy theory by them to categorize us into males and females. That didn't happen from observation of the world. It happened because the capitalists and the Mormons wanted us to trick us into thinking that.
Oh, fuck. The best thing we know. That's got to be my favorite thing that Douglas Murray has ever said.
Yeah, it is.
The first thing we know. Because when he said that, I was like, yeah, you know what? We knew that before we knew the Earth was a globe. And I still know that more strongly than I know that the Earth is a globe. And I'll be honest, I don't doubt that the Earth is a globe even a little bit. It makes sense. It's very coherent with physics, the way that shit seems to work, you know? But I'm like 99.9% sure that the Earth is a globe. And I'm like 99.99% sure in sex. No, fuck. I'm 100% on sex. Okay, fuck it. I'm sick of this shit. I'm a 7 on the Dawkins scale of gender ideology. I always said you shouldn't be a 7, but I'm
no epistemic humility that you can be wrong on that.
Zero epistemic humility at this point. I'm so fucking tired of it because we just know it. All right.
Yeah. Well, then going all the way back to, I mean, what was that YouTube channel of that Forrest dude? Not Jacob, but the Forrest. The Forrest dude who just did a whole Foucauldian argument about why we can queer the concept of what sex is and presented it as if it was a scientific. This is a science. How do they call it? This is a science instructor. No, this is a Foucauldian philosopher. This is a Foucauldian philosopher who's here to queer categories. And all I did was comment on that thing on Mormon Stories. What if I put in a real biologist in here, a real evolutionary biologist to counter this? And that's when I got booted from Mormon Stories.
Oh, man. What a stupid echo chamber. I don't even like. Here's the thing. So in Thoughtful Saints, or Lobsters, I can't remember. They were posting like John DeLynn saying, one of his comments was saying that, like, here's the thing, you guys keep saying that I want people to leave the Mormon church and I don't. And you keep saying blah, 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 blah.
Commented on Alejandro's video. Right?
Yeah. And yeah, something, I didn't watch the video. But
Alejandro had a video with that Arancha concert girl who said she found the Mormon church through Mormon Stories and got baptized from it.
So, yeah, that must have been what it was. And people were like throwing him through the ringer. And thing is, I think at this point in his life, he's being honest. I think right now, John DeLynn is paralyzed and he doesn't actually want people to leave the Mormon church. I think he's starting to realize that religion is sort of like a societal evolutionary.
I hear people call it a technology. It's a societal technology.
Yeah, societal technology, and I think he's actually sincere in that at this point. But I don't blame people for reacting that way to him, for giving him zero credibility in this, because also in their defense, he did say, I never have wanted people to leave the Mormon church. No, that's a lie. That is a fucking lie.
Yeah.
You did. You were so clearly biased against it for the longest time, no matter what you try to say.
Yeah, I mean, you could say if they ever stayed on just the non-activistic, but just the truth side of stuff, because this goes all the way back to podcasts we used to talk about. And I saw on Dad Saves America, they were just bringing this up again, that there is a difference between truth-seeking institutions and activistic institutions. And there was a recent study on most of the remaining professors at the universities, and they say almost 80% of them say activism is higher on their their list of necessities than in the humanities, especially than truth. Than truth stories. Those are just privilege preserving epistemic person. That's sort of an epistemology of what's true or what's not true. It could be like I wasn't listening to the Alpine divorce girl because I said this actually ever happened. You're not listening to what's upsetting us. That's like literally her argument. You know, like, shut up about stats and proofs and that sort of stuff. The white man's tool, as they would call it in critical race theory or something like that. Stop pointing to data. Stop pointing to if this is actually a trend or a thing, and listen to me whine and cry about a thing that gives me anxiety, because that has more something to focus on in this world than anything. But oh gosh, what are they talking about? You said
something gay.
Yeah, it's all
we're
gay.
talking about John DeLynn and his.
Oh, John DeLynn. Yeah. If they had ever, I would believe them if they were ever just like, we are just focusing on the truth claims. But when they all got into activism, there's no believing them. There's like you're a bad person if you stick around with these people who would do something like this to the children of trans people not getting baptized, or you would something like that. As soon as it moved into activism, that was not, you guys were pushing the gambit way beyond, hey, I'm just telling you what's true or not true and you can make your decisions based off this. No, it became a moral push that you must do this or you're a baddie bad baddo.
God damn it.
So Anthony said this guy destroyed the thing, and this is a different guy, but it says data is an archive of facts, numbers, observations.
Wait, that's Anthony?
Anthony said that this was the best answer that destroyed it. So I responded to it. But the whole thing is just like making the obvious point that things are data points.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that green blurb, that's Anthony?
That green blurb is who Anthony said destroyed it.
Okay.
Anthony said, read this guy's thing. He just destroyed you.
Okay. Because I was going to say, that is not.
It would be 7 million words.
Yeah,
long.
it's not long enough to be Anthony, and it doesn't say anything about his TEDx talk. And I don't see the word empathy in there. So yeah, that's not Anthony for sure. I was confused for a sec. Thank you for clarifying.
So he's just saying that finding things or that things exist out in the world is data and data points. And like, I wouldn't have such a problem with the word data. It's obviously data, or I don't know. It's become douchey sounding enough that I just hate the thing. It's just stuff in the world. It's stuff that exists in the world.
Like I said, there's a certain subset of people who, when they get a hold of a term, it becomes gay.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying about Trump derangement syndrome. I don't say it anymore because boomers made it gay.
But when it comes to humanities and divinity school, I just don't answer them. The interpretation of the data is what's happening and what's at stake. And you can make arguments for some interpretations are better or not. But as soon as you're doing that, you're not being postmodernist, because the postmodernist says all interpretations are equally valid unless they come from the white man. But and especially when it comes to like religious type things and that sort of stuff. So the interpretations aren't data. You can make data of listing down what all the different interpretations are, but choosing the best one, that's when you break postmodernism and move into Jordan Peterson pragmatism. When people always say Jordan Peterson is a postmodernist, you say no, because Jordan says you can choose best interpretations. As soon as you are choosing best interpretations, you are not being a postmodernist anymore. But Dan and Foucault and all those guys ultimately do that too, because Foucault and all those guys would ultimately say, Jonathan shared with us a good thing with Stephen Hicks this week. I don't have it like pulled up here though, but he always says, but you guys obviously have like an overarching worldview, even though you claim to not have an overarching worldview, but it all does stem back to commies. You think Marxism is the right answer for everything. In most of these cases, as Dan would do, your privilege preserving white evangelical interpretation of stuff by necessity is an oppressor's view. And so no, all interpretations are equal, except yours can't be right because you're an oppressor. That's stupid. It's stupid because it defeats the claim of the postmodernism in itself right there. You're making an interpretation or a decision that all things equal We do not choose the oppressor. And that Dan has said that a million times.
Postmodernism always runs into the same problem that nihilism does, because, well, not quite the same problem, because nihilism runs into the problem that nobody is a true nihilist because nothing matters. You hold a flame to their hand and they'll take it away. So something clearly matters to them. Postmodernism runs into the problem of it can't really exist because there's not a single person in the world that can actually think no word means anything. And I'm so much more on board now. That fucking the IQ bell curve meme might be the most true meme format that's ever existed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I think I bring it up every stream, so people are probably sick of hearing it.
Now you haven't brought it up forever.
But the
you know you've become a fan of Adam Carolla lately.
What's that?
You've become a fan of Adam Carolla lately, and I saw Casey say up there, "douche nozzle." That's a Carolla-ism.
Yeah, I did see. Well, we said douche nozzle in high school. That's
oh
funny.
no,
yeah, no, we said it all the time because
one of the best things that I've learned from Carolla, if you've listened to enough from Carolla, and he's a very successful podcaster and radio host, is if he's saying a thing again, he knows he's saying it again. He just does the bit.
Yeah,
he just says it.
Well, Carolla feels like he captures my spirit more than anyone else. Like, and he was the one I was thinking of when I was talking about the IQ bell curve, because he's not stupid. He's definitely not stupid, but he says the thing like the stupid half of the IQ bell curve meme, and I was like, no, that's the way we should say it. You don't need all the. I can't remember the exact example I was thinking of when I brought this all up, but that meme format is so completely true. It's like, no, fuck you. We already know what we're talking about. Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this was the thing Mr. Croissant Boucher was. So let's
see what it is. I have not seen this.
I haven't seen it either, but it's the only thing I could find.
To the vampire disco.
I don't like surprises. Ding, ding, ding. Or he does like surprises, actually. Ding, 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 ding.
That's about Blade.
Just amazing.
Played that scene.
That is so good.
Play that scene. He's ready to bail, and she grabs him and kisses him. And he's like, "Okay, cool."
This song is so hard. This song is so hard.
Give me that, Jamie.
That's the Blade intro.
This fucking scene rules, dude.
Oh my god! It's so look how clean.
Snipes'
Blade is so clean right here too.
Look at that.
Yo, let's go!
Come on. That, I think, is like, out of all the superhero movies, that's the best
that's all
introduction. Blade, when that dude.
Yeah, it was.
It just started pouring blood out of the fire suppression system.
That is really good. I need to rewatch Blade. It's been a minute, but it's got some good stuff in it. 90s, go back to the 90s. Have you ever gone back and seen the Wesley Snipes movie, not Repo Man or something like that?
We watched Repo Man.
Demolition Man.
Yeah, Demolition Man. That's it. That's
where at the time the movie kind of flopped. Nobody really thought about it. I think it would have been huge nowadays because it predicted the future so much better than anything else. If you remember it, they're in a future where they can't touch each other, they can't kiss, they can't talk to people, all that sort of stuff.
It predicted it really well, or where it keeps charging him for saying swear words.
Yeah. It's kind of like when people used to argue about was Orwell right or was did I lose? Was Orwell right or was Brave New World right? Type thing, and that one's kind of along the lines of Brave New World.
Brave New World was more right. You want to know something funny about Demolition Man? The first time I watched it was actually during the second half of my mission when I was, being a bad boy. And then the second time I watched it was when I was married to Morgan. I was showing it to her. And I was really confused because the place they kept going to was KFC. You remember that?
Yeah.
How they kept going to KFC?
No.
And I was like, I swear to God, it was Taco Bell. I swear it was. I thought it was a Mandela effect thing. And because I had told her about it and I said Taco Bell, and she's like, well, but they're at KFC. I was like, no, they went to Taco Bell. She's like, but they're at KFC. I was like, no, I swear. And so I looked it up.
Now you're Mandela incepting me, because now I'm starting to think maybe it was Taco Bell.
Well, I actually can't. I might have it vice versa here. I can't remember. But in non-American versions, they went to one of them, and in the American version, they went to the other.
Oh, so they both existed?
Yeah, they both exist. So whatever version I saw when I was in Brazil was either, I think it was KFC. Yeah, I think it was KFC.
I remember
when
Taco Bell now.
Yeah, I think it was Taco Bell was the American version.
Oh yeah, that's a real Mandela effect you pulled up there. That's crazy. I need to rewatch that again too. It's been a minute for that one. Stupid stuff. Well, that's good stuff. Huck, knock it off, buddy. What stuff I got here? Sarbanes Cola says, I'm going Uber Mormon for my last night snack. Lime jello with blueberries and whipped cream. Are the blueberries already in the green jello, or do you add the blueberries on top of the thing? Did you make the jello beforehand? Does anybody stop and make like a thing of jello beforehand anymore?
That doesn't sound bad. The carrots doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. You never had that?
No, I think that might be exclusively a Utah thing.
Did you ever have the cottage cheese in it?
Yes,
I think that's one of the worst things in the world.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. They had a lot of. What's weird is, so I always talk about how Mormons casserolize everything, and I love that. What I really hate is that they will also saladize everything. My mom has this thing that she'll make for family gatherings, and it tastes really good, actually. But I shit you not, she calls it Snickers salad.
That sounds good, right? I mean,
no, it's very, very good. But I'm like, those two things.
There's a thing called cookie salad, and so I'm already imagining it's more like that than like.
Yeah, Snickers and salad do not belong in the same phrase together.
What about cookie salad? I think cookie salad
same
is
thing.
a big Mormon thing.
But
carrots and tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes. I never heard of tomatoes in.
I've never seen a tomato in a jello.
That sounds honestly better than carrots, though. But I really like tomatoes, so maybe that's just me.
You think you could eat? No, I couldn't eat tomatoes in the jello.
I don't want to. I'm just saying I could do that before. Like if I had to choose carrots or tomatoes, I'd probably choose tomatoes. I wouldn't. That's gross, but
I don't think I could if I wanted to. I think I'd gack that one up. Where did I think that? Oh yeah, very first thing. Have you considered? I mean, if you've been feeling like tired or run down or anything lately, have you considered maybe opening your marriage?
Lighten your
load.
Hold on a sec. Hold on. It would lighten your married mode to just consider how many miles of cock your wife is taking every weekend. What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I get you can say it opens you up to fucking new bitches, which is delusional, but it at least is a delusion that is placed within a reality that, if that reality existed, would be kind of nice. But lighten your mental load. No reality is thinking, oh, my wife's probably getting fucked right now while I'm earning money for the family or watching the kids or whatever. No, nothing about that is like, oh man, I have the burden of getting my dick sucked off of my shoulders now. Thank God I don't have to hit it from behind. Oh my God, I don't have to make out and grab tits anymore. Oh, another guy's doing that for me. What a load off my back.
Croissant says, DC the tomatoes and place the slices in. I've seen it. Man, I have not seen that one. I swear I've seen everything. I have not seen that one. as far as it comes to Utah Jellos. Well, just tomato and onions. Forced to eat tomato and onion salad in Germany. Just those two sliced fine with some. Oh, I would have liked that.
That actually sounds fine.
I thought you were saying it was in a Jello. That's where I get lost there.
I'd rather add some spinach to it and some cheese, maybe. I don't know. I like the way we do salads. Some blue cheese. I fucking love blue cheese on salad, but yeah.
Yeah, there's the church that's getting torn down. I saw this thing from up in Idaho. A Pocatello Mormon church was turned into an Airbnb. Maybe I want to go stay in it. Maybe we could porch time could buy this thing up and we all turn it into an Airbnb. That's the church I grew up in. The one I was griping has this big, beautiful baseball diamond on it that has been used in a decade and a half.
Yeah,
and it's going. They're probably just gonna tear it down and put up a bunch of low income housing.
No, I saw like the heyday of not the heyday. I saw like as the heyday was dying down of Mormon extracurriculars. Because I never saw one of the road shows you were talking about.
That ended before the 90s. I remember that from the 80s.
I saw a couple softball games in a Mormon softball diamond, and
softball was still rocking right through the 90s. Softball and basketball that died somewhere in the aughts.
They did church ball still when I was a teenager, and that was fun. Well, it's kind of fun. I was the best basketball player on our team, and I'm not great. Like, I'm fine.
Well, I mean, you probably had a better time than I did, because in this ward where I grew up at that place right there, we had 28 boys like my same age, and the year older had 28 boys, and the year older had 28 boys. And so we'd have a basketball game from our team. There wasn't enough for each of us to play a quarter.
Oh, see, I played the whole game, and so that was fun. It's just the problem was there were plenty of boys my age and plenty of boys the year older, but they were all fucking theater kids. So
really?
none of them. Yeah, none of them.
Idaho would have a bunch of raucous romping.
No, they do, but not in my word was gay. I was gay.
How did you land in the gay spot? Is there something about it that makes it the gay spot?
It was when we moved here, we were in a really cool ward. And then when I was about 14 or 15, we switched ward boundaries to where all the cool outdoorsy people were in the old one, and the new one was us and all of the rich engineers and their kids. It was still pretty cool because, like, seriously, we had a snowmobile camp out every winter. It was incredible. I don't know how anybody convinced our young men's leaders to do this. Like, even if you could do it today, if they were like, hey, we want to do a snowmobile camp out where we're just going to go to Island Park. We're going to have a bunch of 15-year-old boys use your cabin, and anyone who wants to let an inexperienced 15-year-old just ride your snowmobile with no liability waiver or anything like that, please do it. There's no fucking way I would let a kid do that, but they let us do it. And so I had zero experience riding a snowmobile, but they just let me ride it.
Well, I mean, that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then during the summer, we had our boys camp. It was fucking awesome. We would go to the lake, and for like the first 3 days, we would just boat all day. We would wakeboard, water ski, tube, kneeboard, all that shit with someone's boat that he just let us use. And then the last day, we would whitewater raft the Hoback. It was so fucking awesome.
That sounds pretty cool. I mean, the best we ever got to do was like some sort of banana boat behind a boat with all the guys that we had. We didn't get that much cool stuff, but I don't know. There was something about being in an area with so many stinking people crammed together in the same spot.
Yeah, the difference is there's outdoorsy and then there's sportsy, and they're different people.
Yeah, they're
totally so these theater kids had very outdoorsy dads, so they would do all this shit with us, and it was fucking great. And their kids would do that, but they weren't really into sports. So I was like the oldest kid playing church ball and the tallest. And I was very short. I was on the shorter end of my grade until about the 10th grade. And so it was me and a bunch of really short little kids and a couple klutzes. So I was the best, and I wasn't very good.
We had so many kids around, but like Casey says, we had our conference at Lake Powell one year. We had our youth conference at the 49th Street Galleria. Did you ever know what that was? It was basically, oops, did I do the wrong thing? It was basically Casa Bonita from South Park here in Murray. This big theme park stinking thing. We got to spend like 2 days in there all by ourselves together. Like they had all sorts of rides and miniature golf and bowling and that sort of stuff. Basically just Casa Bonita, but that's all torn down too. All this stuff getting torn down. You know, there's something to say about like the modernism of Mormonism. They're a bit nomadic. They're able to like leave their things and move on. But if sometimes I feel Jewish, just like I feel Star Trek Jewish, and I'm like, no, we should fight and defend this ground for 2,000 years and kill, start wars overseas with everybody that we see just to defend this piece of ground because it was hallowed ground for me growing up. Hold it and maintain it for 1,000 years and start wars with every country that we see that wants to mess with it.
Starbase is asking if you did a 50 miler for High Adventure, like a bike ride, because we did the cycling merit badge where the final bike ride.
I remember biking merit badge, but I don't remember going that long.
No, the final stretch of the cycling merit badge, I'm pretty sure, was a 50-mile bike ride. And so we did
50
that
miles?
Yeah.
I don't, because I'm pretty sure I had that merit badge. I remember a big, long bike ride, but I do not remember.
So there was a bunch of 5-mile bike rides, a little bit less 10-mile bike rides, and then 2 25-milers, and then the final was a 50-mile bike ride. And yeah, we did it. I had the shittiest.
You're right. It says right here, 50 mile. I must not have had that badge because I'm sure my parents were kind of cheap asses and they wouldn't get us very good bikes.
Oh, saying,
and I'm sure I could do like a 20 miler or something like that.
He's saying the 50-mile canoe. Yeah, I didn't do that. What was funny is the first time I went to scout camp, we went to Lake Limhi or Camp Limhi, and like I didn't really understand what was going on because I can be perceptive of some things, but I'm very unperceptive of other things that like normal people are very perceptive of, right? So like everybody at work seems to know what everybody else's car is. I have no fucking clue. I never noticed that shit. But so when we went to this, I didn't really quite, for some reason I was too retarded to understand that the objective was to get as many merit badges as you could. So I just roamed around the camp doing whatever the fuck I wanted. I did the Wilderness Survival Merit Badge, which was just you had to make your own structure and sleep in it for a night, which was awesome. I love that. And then I did the Canoeing Merit Badge like 8 times. Yeah, I fucking loved it. I did that so many times.
I remember I racked them up at those camps, but if I remember right, the Canoeing Merit Badge in a smaller lake, like where I was, a Steiner or something like that, you just did laps. So we just do, it wasn't like the Puget Sound would be freaking awesome. Well, it would also be kind of freaky. I mean, that could be scary, the Puget Sound. But
well, it was like you had to purposely capsize it and then flip it back over and get in it.
Yeah, I did that at Steiner.
Me and one of my friends,
cold water.
Me and one of my friends tried to do the Pirates of the Caribbean thing where we flip it over and try to push it down. And like, obviously you can't really because you don't have any weight on you with a life jacket. But it was funny because at the end of the week, everybody was comparing the amount of merit badges they got. And they were like, how many did you get? And I was like, I don't know. They didn't give out badges. And they're like, well, no, but they give out those blue slips. And I was like, oh, yeah, I got 2 of them. And it was just wilderness survival and canoeing. And I get home and my mom was fucking mad.
Remember they had like a ceremony at the end of the camp where they'd like see who all got the most badges and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was retarded. I didn't want to go to that. I wanted to canoe.
I had fun with it too, but do you know of Lake Steiner, Camp Steiner or something like that? A lot of people, it's famous around here. Cold as freaking water, and you had to pass the swim test to do any of the swimming stuff. But then I also had to do the canoe thing, and man, I still remember the feeling of being in the air, jumping into that water. And you felt like whatever people must feel like the last second after they commit suicide, like, what did I just do to myself? Well, you flash that in your mind when you're in midair. And oh my gosh, it was cold. Right as I went on a 50 miler in 2001. I was 15 at the time. 50 miles. How far?
I actually did when the
I've
other
not
thing I
done a
did.
50 miler in my life, so I must not have that merit badge.
Well, the other thing I did at Camp Limhi was I was the first one to climb up the weird little Jacob's ladder, because I remember watching guys. You know how it's like basically a horizontal but upward slant, like a diagonal ladder on one rope. So as soon as you get on it, you got to balance really well, but it's really difficult to keep that balance, and it'll just turn upside down. And I kept seeing people turn upside down, and I was like, well, you just hook your legs, you climb up it upside down really easily. So I did that, and I got to the top. I felt pretty fucking cool.
I'm gonna see how, because I mean, I rode like on my bike the Provo, like the Lehigh-ish area from somewhere. That's nowhere near 50, is it? Let me see. Where does it say the miles on a map? Doesn't it say the miles, total miles somewhere?
Should.
Where is it? I don't see it. 21 minutes in car, 2 hours and 16 minutes on the bike. Like, what's the mileage of that? That's the farthest I went. Oh, why doesn't it say the miles anywhere? Anyway, here, I'm gonna share the screen. Am I missing the miles? Where's the miles? Like, that's the farthest I've gone on a bike.
21 minutes. That's how long it is.
That's in the
19.9.
car.
It says right under there.
Where?
19.
Oh, down there. I'm not
Yeah.
seeing this already. 20 miles. That's the farthest I've gone on a bike. I do not have the cycling thing. For sure. I thought I did have the cycling. It'd be interesting to go back and get my sash if my parents still have it anywhere and see if which ones I actually got or not, because I can't even remember.
See, I know that I got every merit badge required for my Eagle Scout, and then I never got my Eagle. And the reason I know that is because there was a guy that made knives in my original ward, and he said, I don't know why it was this specific, but he said, anyone that gets their Eagle Scout gets every merit badge for their Eagle Scout before they turn 14, and then gets their Eagle Scout, he makes them a custom knife. And so my mom, I don't know why she cared that much, but she really wanted me to. So I got every merit badge required for my Eagle Scout before I turned 14. And then for the next 4 years, I did fuck all with scouting and didn't give a shit about my Eagle. So
I did the exact same thing. Although most of my merit badges that got me up to the Eagle, especially a lot of the tedious ones, my mom pushed me into doing them. And so I ended up doing them all. And then when it got to the Eagle, she's like, now you got to go do this one. I was like, and I just didn't, but I thought about doing some stuff with like the church hymn books or something like that. And then I just never did it. The Starbase says, my mom has 2 sons and never got her Eagle Scout. I saw the thing Matt Walsh was covering the girls being in Boy Scouts nowadays and girls getting their Eagle Scouts. And that was tripping me out that there's 1,000 girls out there with their Eagle Scout out there now. Listen to this.
How thing Vaughn. How did you get into character?
The script. This is Charlie Sheen talking about what's that movie? Major League Baseball.
It was amazing. David Ward directed it, wrote it. He won the Oscar for The Sting when he was like 22. I had one meeting with him, and he was like, "Well, you pitched in high school." I'm like, "Yeah," and that was only 4 years ago, right? 5 years ago. But I can't throw 98 or 100, or I'd be doing it for a living. But I could probably get you somewhere in the mid 80s.
That's still good. God.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So I did a bunch of steroids, right? Because I was only throwing 76 at the time. And I had this trainer. This guy was a running back at BYU, and he knew a guy that could get
a running back at BYU got Charlie Sheen into steroids.
Well, that's not explicitly forbidden in the word of wisdom, so I guess go for it, buddy.
Steroids, and so we're at Gold's Gym.
I heard that out of the blue. Like, a running back from BYU got Charlie, and like the whole lore of like Charlie Sheen now is gay now, and he said part of why he went gay is because he used so much steroids and stuff that he would just have sex with anything. So a running back at BYU steroided up and converted Charlie Kirk. Conversion therapy So BYU did the opposite of conversion therapy in the 80s, and it made Charlie
They
Sheen
made him gay.
So BYU, Dallin folks can't be lying about that conversion therapy at BYU because they did it. They did it to Charlie Sheen with steroids.
Yeah, Mr. Croissant's asking, wait, is Charlie Sheen gay now? Yeah, he's dating a dude apparently. Here, I'll be right back. I got to race like a piss horse.
Starbase Calling says Chen does make dudes gay. I've heard a lot about that too. Not that there's anything wrong. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Oh, that reminds me. Casey shared a thing from Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes was on with Adam Carolla this week, and they did a really good thing. But Pete Holmes starts this whole. I'll show it here. Pete Holmes stand-up. Pete Holmes got some funny stuff.
You can laugh. Let's see if we can laugh at this. I got a big dumb Mormon face. You can laugh at that. Yeah, you can laugh. I told that joke in Utah. They fucking love me in Utah. They know I have resting Latter-day Saint face. They know. They love me in Salt Lake City. I'm like a parade float of a Mormon. They let me in the temple. I pet the dragon. It was awesome. Any Latter-day Saints here? Okay, nobody stopped them. It's clearly not safe. Someone should have been like, Jebediah, no! We don't need... Malachi, stay thy hand! Oh, I love you. I'm not making fun of you. I'm not Mormon. I just look Mormon-y. I stopped drinking. That's kind of Mormon-y. When you stop, yeah. When you stop...
I think that's all I said on that. But the Mormons, he was on Adam Carolla this week. They did really good together. If you listen to that one, they bat off of each other. Perez Hilton met God. I saw that on Twitter. Perez Hilton said he flatlined and God appeared to him, and now he's a Catholic again. Speaking of which, a bunch of weird stuff's been going on with the Daily Wire calling out Catholics. Have you seen that sort of stuff?
Calling out Catholics?
Yeah, it's weird. Which they have the Pints of Aquinas stuff, but they put
Yeah, I
out
was gonna say they just signed Mike Frad on there, or Matt Frad.
So they have this whole thing, and it's kind of pushing. James Lindsay's been pushing out too, of talking about like there's this Orthodox Catholic conversion bro, the Jay Dyer bros type stuff, recent converts, and they think that Candace recently converting to Catholicism, and also that one Pergine lady who was on she just appeared on Tucker. She was on like the Religious Council or something like that. She just like converted to Catholic, and they're saying it's turning. A Catholic convert boom is real, but a troubling pattern is emerging. And they say this on the Daily Wire. Unlike many branches of Christianity, the Catholic Church does not demand that the faithful be committed Zionists to receive God's blessing. Just right out the gates with it.
Holy fuck. Come on, guys. I'm trying to be on your team. You're so bad at this.
Yeah. It's so goofy, but like there's this big long thing. I guess this person called Insurrectionist Barbie put out this long thing about how it was shared around. It was shared around by Ted Cruz and everybody about how there's a secret Duganite Catholic church that's coming up, but it's part of this separate Christian nationalism type thing growing. That's something like what do you call it? Distributism and all that sorts of stuff. And watch out for it. They're coming for your kids type stuff. And I think it's all way overblown, but Candace is that. So, but she's real. She's a real idiot like that. But it's also overblown what they're freaking out about there.
Well, yeah. The Zionist part of it is definitely overblown. That's horse shit. Like I think like 3 weeks ago or something, my screen name was Apathysemitic or something. Apathysemitic. I can't remember what I said exactly, but that's what I want people to be. It's just not apathetic to like Jews being killed or something, but like the same, treat the Jews the same as you treat everyone else. I'm a Western liberal, but like this is cringe. The problem is more like, what do you do when a bunch of people see sort of the value in religion as, what did you call it, social technology, kind of as I do, and think I should rejoin this, but they don't have any of the metaphysical beliefs. Because I'm like, if you just have like one or two of them, I thought about this because Morgan's like, we need to just be Mormon again. I was like, but like, if we were the only ones that were in the Mormon church that were like, yeah, we know that the actual beliefs are bullshit, but we'll be here to support sort of the community. We'll totally attend and do all that shit. I'm not paying tithing, not going to do that, but that'd be fine. But if like, what percentage of the congregation could be like us and it still be an effective organization? I think it's pretty fucking low.
Yeah, we're not
like,
the
like sub 10% could be me.
Yeah. Which is also kind of dumb. Like what if they go like appeasing people who are kind of already on the fringes, those fringe people aren't going to stay anyway, so they shouldn't do it, you know, type stuff. But I'm going to put this thing out here because Sargon Akkad did this whole thing on Short Fat Otaku. Short Fat Otaku has been kind of nuts with his Trump derangement and all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, you know. He's gone a little nutty with that.
But hold on a second here. My thing conked out and now it just came back on. But he had a whole post. So Pete Holmes, when he was on with Corolla, he said this thing, a joke. I can't remember how the joke goes, but he says
the rape one.
No, the one where he says trans is like if you go to any sort of building in the world, there's no 13th floor.
Yeah,
right?
It's like we've been dealing with these maniacs bullshit forever. You could just believe you could, and you know the 13th floor because effectively speaking, every building still has a 13th floor. It's just it has the number 14 on it.
Yes, but that moment right there is when he doesn't realize is that you just said the thing, but it's actually just the 13th. You're not allowed to say that.
Yeah,
in the trans world.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to do that part.
I actually have to believe that it's the 13th. There's the 14th floor.
Yeah, and so there was a whole thing with Dev blowing up this week because I guess his whole thing blew up, and you know Sargon covered it, and it's almost the same exact thing that Dev came out and made this tweet. I'm trying to find the tweet here. Hold on, but it basically says nobody actually believes the thing, right? We just play along with it in some senses, right? Let's see. Here it is. Nobody reasonably actually thinks that trans women metamorphose into biological females. You effing retard. You know, saying to somebody else, the ask is not believe that men are women. It's don't be an asshole. You don't have to be trans people. You do have to leave them alone. And guess how that went for him.
Okay, but leave them alone. I would love to leave them alone. But with the trans issue specifically, they make it sort of affirm or reject, and those are your only options. First off, because it's a part of speech. There's no part of speech in any other of these social issues that I have to use or not use that will like there most of these social issues you can remain neutral in your everyday speech, but if I see a trans woman, I can either use she her pronouns, therefore affirming what she believes, or I can use he him pronouns, therefore rejecting what he believes. There's no middle ground. Like I can try to avoid pronouns, but that's sort of tacitly endorsing it, I think. And also the you can't say they won't settle for let's make a third league that's for just the trannies, because they're like, well, there wouldn't be any trannies in it. I'm like, yeah, that's fine with me. I don't fucking care. But you can either say they should be allowed to play women's sports because they're women, or you can say no, they shouldn't be allowed to play sports, which is effectively saying that means I don't actually think they're women. And most people deep down, even the ones that affirm it, don't actually think that they're women.
Yeah, but then there's this whole other thing like what Pete Holmes and Dev are doing here, or we would assume that most of the Mormon influencers, if we pressed them or made them do a reductio ad absurdo fallacy, you know, just press them on the type of thing, they would probably ultimately say, no, we don't actually believe it, but be nice. But that's not good enough. Also, like the thing that Seth Garrett would always argue about, that there's a thing in the brain that you can do because Troy actually got into that quite a bit with Colby about how Sapolsky's kind of full of shit. And so, sorry to sum up so quickly, but I'm going to sum it up that quickly. That Sapolsky's full of shit. And Sapolsky is one of the ones who says that there's neurobiology that says that, well, this is what, the trans thing is. They will not accept that because you're looking for a scientific answer. They will not accept falsifiability. But secondly, if you want to be the person who says, no, we don't actually believe it, just be nice to them. That's what comes out in this episode with Sargon. Guess how well this worked out. It comes out as Dev gets called every bit of fascist. Like, you get called every bit of fascist that we'd ever get called for saying that I don't actually believe. And of course, everybody's there in the replies. HRT changes DNA. Blah, 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 blah. HRT literally makes us biological females. And then, of course, like down the road, they start calling them a fascist, white supremacist, all that sorts of stuff. We're literally physically closer to cis women than our former selves. Treat trans women because we are, and stop being an asshole, all that type of stuff. And it's like, you're trying to tell these people, like, hey, unless you go all the way, Judith Butler, unless you go all the way, true believer of the two spirits, unless you go all the way and believe in the thing, if you're just telling us to not be an asshole, they think you are the same fascist we are. That's my piece on that.
Well, yeah, it's kind of just the whole tired idea of the left eat their own. And I think I brought it up last weekend with H3H3 versus iDubbbz. And Anissa, iDubbbz's wife, sort of insulted this woman by saying she looks like she smells like pennies, which is apparently a common phrase that people will use to describe a woman on her period because it makes her smell like pennies, I guess.
Blood smells like
the blood, yeah. And so I don't think she was actually trying to be anti-Semitic, but the woman was Jewish. So of course the woke ass H3H3 podcast is going to use that against Anissa and iDubbbz, which is hilarious because I don't care to defend you. I don't think they're correct. I don't think you were trying to shit on Jews. I don't even really think you hate Jews. I think you dislike Israel. But I don't care. This is your bed. You've made it. You will always eat each other.
Yeah. This is how it goes. Speaking of which, jumping back to movies, I watched that new War Machine movie that stars that dude
Alan Richins,
who got in a fight this week. That's kind of a funny fight if you watch the whole entire thing on Twitter.
Funny.
He gets in a motorcycle and his neighbor steps out in front of him and he beats him up, and there's all this video of it. But this it's all right. Like, it's totally like a throwback to Predator or something like that. But I could 100% believe that there was an alien there killing a bunch of people, more than I could believe that this character here is a ranger who out-survived 125 other rangers to make it to the top elite and is 5'1" and dumpy. And
that thing could not out-survive me. And that isn't like a brag on my part. I have tits.
What's worse is it turns out that's the director of the movie too, which is, I think it's a pretty good, like, it's a pretty good throwback to Predator. It's not great, but it's the same setup and concept. Good enough, well done. Just I lost all verisimilitude when you outlasted all these other rangers. But this is the person right here. Here you go. Lost the thing already. Yeah, right there. I just couldn't. I was just like, I can't do this, man. So, right there, this person. It's not a big enough picture of it. It makes it smaller if I try to zoom in on it.
Holy shit! Is that supposed to be a chick? Or
it never actually says. So maybe it's just supposedly G.I. Jane or something like that. But it sure seems like they're playing it off as that's a male. I don't know. Anyway, enough on that thing. What were we talking about? Troy is reporting that DeLynn says the talks with the LDS Church went awry and he has walked away. Reports of MSP mediation with the LDS Church broke down and they've walked away. Sorry says, I would love to see John against Kurt McConkie and the money he'd fundraise gets wasted. Mormon Stories definitely reacted and changed their branding. I guess we'll see if the corporation thinks he changed it enough to that orange. Because, I mean, it looks all just the same, but it's just orange now, which I think orange maybe is enough. I mean, but
That should be enough.
I don't know if the wording or something like that is the same, but did he have to go? Wasn't part of it is that he had to go back and rebrand everything that ever said it? And wasn't it just using the word Mormon at all? So then he would have to go back and take the word Mormon out of everything that he ever said through all of his years of stuff, which, by the way, speaking of the labor theory of value, we actually were running some stuff through some things. Jonathan Streeter was, and he was able to total all the hours of production of these different places and company things. And John DeLynn has something like 3,000 hours in this stuff or something, if I remember right off the top of my head. It was a huge amount. And Alyssa Grenfell has 16. She's way out loud. So how's that for your labor theory of value, folks? But of course, Divas is going to beat them all. So if we are supposed to go with the commie labor theory of value, it should be Divas making the most money, and Alyssa Grenfell should just barely be getting started. She's done 16 hours of stuff.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's all been shit. I would say that even like, okay, raw numbers wise, DeLynn has more valuable content that she does. But I would even say ratio wise, he has, because like, what has Alyssa Grenfell done that has felt worthwhile?
Nothing.
Because there's been a lot of pretty good DeLynn stuff. Like the early days, he was a pretty good interviewer.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's a pretty good middle of the road interviewer before 2014 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he would press people.
Yeah. I don't know. What was I gonna? Dang it. Well, anyway, there's some depressing stories that I don't even know if I want to like hit on because there's. Did you follow the whole stuff of the Spanish suicide, the euthanasia?
Fuck no.
It's the worst story ever. So maybe we'll just skim over it. But here, I'll put it on the screen here. This girl here, she had a tough life growing up. She was put in a boarding school. In the boarding school, she got raped multiple times. After getting raped multiple times, she jumped off of something and became paraplegic. Then she wanted to be euthanized, and her family and parents were trying to get her to stop and save her and all that sort of stuff, but she's getting euthanized. Anyway, down towards the end of it, the Spanish government said that she couldn't back out of it because her organs were promised to other patients.
Wait. Did she try to back out of it?
Supposedly she never wanted to back out of it, but they said that either way that they wouldn't.
Fuck. Oh my God. That is every type of evil just wrapped into one story. Jesus, you just want to hug her.
Yeah, it's the worst thing going on in the world right now. And all these euthanasia things. I mean, there's a couple different, like this gal, after she became a rape victim, wanted to be euthanized, so they granted me. So that's the type of depression that you can have in the world. You become a rape victim, and so then now we can just euthanize rape victims because they're so depressed.
That's just so fucked. That is so entirely fucked. I remember that first story I heard about that was it Norway or Sweden? I think it was Norway. Just this sweet Norwegian girl. I think she was 17 years old when the government said, yeah, you can be euthanized. No parental consent needed, just for mental health issues. Come on.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had a bunch loaded up, and there's a ton of them. We all just know what's happening. There's these things of like migrant workers who commit sex offenses. They let him off because they said, oh, it was an honest mistake. Oh, he didn't understand the customs. There was one here that it says that this guy just got let off early, but there was another one that they said it didn't last long enough.
It's funny now that the modern American tough on crime guys are saying maybe guys that rape 15-year-old girls should be locked up forever at least. Like, that's our tough on crime now. That's our fucking standard. No, tough on crime. If you want to go real tough on crime worldwide, you go to what's the place? I can't remember, where they cane people for spitting gum on the or for drug, whatever. We're not, our tough on crime people are pretty soft, and I think that's good. I think it's a good. Oh fuck yeah, there it is. Swedish court ruled that Asian migrant who raped 16-year-old man Edberg won't be deported because the rape didn't last long enough. Those people should be Singapore. That's what Mr. Yeah, Singapore. Like, they're hard on crime. They're too hard on crime, I would say, for sure. But this is just, he's right. Suicidal empathy, for sure. I mean, I guess it sort of gets to the crux of what I was saying before, is that these are people who will take your good nature and will use it against you.
Yeah,
Say,
and that's what's happening all over the place. And
this man had a rough upbringing, and the answer to that is, I don't care. He's a danger to society. He raped a 16-year-old girl.
But like, why? In what world? When did we get into the world where fear of being called racist or xenophobic or something like that trumps raping young women?
Yeah, no, that's seriously, like, and deportation is not like, that's sympathetic to the max, and they're like, we can't even do that. Like, really, if you rape a 16-year-old girl, I'm okay with you just, I don't want to torture you or anything, but like, just a bullet to the head. You're done. You raped a 16-year-old girl violently. You're done. And it's not even like a revenge thing. It's like you're a danger to society, and we don't want you to be a burden on the taxpayer. You're done.
Yeah, there's stuff like this. Like, they're having like the kids in Britain like learn to do the prayer and all that sorts of stuff in school. There's a bunch of videos of that out now. Right there on the screen, right there now. But then, we're having such a fun conversation. I always get back into the Islami stuff, but
award-winning traditional fiddle player and camogie athlete. She was a teacher of first-class kids, and she was engaged in a long-term relationship with Ryan Casey, together since teenagers.
there was that other shooting. Corolla covered it this week. The shooting in Chicago, and then the mayor of Chicago, or the area near Chicago, said, "Well, she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time."
They were
a jogging girl
planning marriage, a house, and kids. 2022, during the middle of the day, a foreigner, a Slovaki Romani national, stabbed her with a serrated knife 11 times in the neck and slashed her throat, brutally murdering her. Since that happened, Ryan Casey, her boyfriend, has been trying to get some justice. This man never worked. He was on welfare payments. We were paying for him to be here. And on a random day, he goes out and kills an Irish girl. When he came home with his clothes bloodied, his family burnt the clothes to protect him and destroy any evidence. The family were on disability payments. They weren't working. Why were they allowed to stay in Ireland and something like this allowed to happen? Ryan Casey, her boyfriend, went to the United States for St. Patrick's Day. He attended a visit in the White House to tell his story. Because of that, this is the reaction of the left. They have been putting him in Nazi uniforms. And remind you, this man's girlfriend was brutally murdered. Shocked the whole country at the time. They have superimposed his face onto the man who killed Aisling. This is what the left are doing on X towards Ryan Casey. This man, Graham Manning, works with kids. He calls Ryan a certain grifting racist. Emma Holdenfuck says, I have no sympathy left for him when he's using the murder of his girlfriend to start a fucking far-right grift. This is what Ryan Casey said. First visit to Washington, D.C. was an incredibly productive experience. I had the opportunity to engage with many high-ranking U.S. officials on Capitol Hill and the U.S. State Department who have genuine interest and concerns about the direction of our country is heading. Thomas said this to Ryan, this lad seemingly being sponsored by a homophobic anti-choice lobby group to go to the U.S. to whinge about modern Ireland just further confirms his former girlfriend would be deeply ashamed of the direction he's gone.
Oh,
Ryan
my
Casey
God.
went with a
My God, this is depressing me, man. This is
That's like the depressing stuff. The thing is, like, these are like I could pull up 50 of these stories, so I don't.
yeah,
not
but
harping on the.
Well, I mean, I was already talking about the shifting over the Overton window when it comes to soft on crime versus hard on crime. The hard on crime people are saying jail rapists for a long time. That's our version of hard on crime. Is jail and pay for the well-being of people who rape teenage girls. And that's insane. Like, that's as hard as we go. But this guy is far right. Oh, he's a far right grifter because he's a little bit salty that his girlfriend got stabbed to death by a migrant who we were paying for his entire well-being, his entire family's well-being. He's a little bit salty about that. So now he's grifting. No, like, if somebody did that to Morgan and I didn't have any kids, I'd feel like I had nothing left to lose. I would kill the guy. Like, I would find him and I would kill him. And maybe I guess I'm far right. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, that stuff is just. There's no way that we could ever even attempt to try to do the multiculturalism or whatever if we're not going to actually hold universal principles. Like if people are so afraid of offending, neoliberal principles of being called a racist or a Nazi for holding somebody to account for doing stuff or saying that, all of the types of principles should be 100% the same across the board for the people. We can't do this experiment. There is no liberal experiment. If that stuff has become such a big moral bugaboo that we can't just treat them universally. Ryan Wimmer says, damn grifter. Yeah. I seriously got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different things on that. And I don't feel like getting all depressed. We went all over the stuff last week. Although look at this here. This is an Islamic center that I was walking right here. I walked right up the road past this. And this is like on the river walk in Jordan, on the Jordan River, and past this Islamic center right here. It's so weird because it's like back in the Riverwalk area. You can't drive to it from the road right there. You have to drive to it from the Riverwalk. And we have this big, like, 1,000-person Islamic center right back in there. And I didn't even know it was back there. I mean, good, fine and dandy for all them or whatever. I'm not saying like any random Islamic person is there. But that's like literally my backyard. I was just walking past there. I walked past it a few times, and since it was in the park area of Jordan River, I thought it was like a sewer system house or something. Then I finally saw like the crescent moon on it and that sorts of stuff. I'm like, whoa, that's just like right walking distance from my house right there. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, well, if they if they don't get all like what John Cleese says, because John Cleese has still been on it like this week. Here he is saying, John Cleese is glowing nuclear right now. Sorry to have to say this. The British do not like the kind of diversity that intends to take over Britain and kill any infidel that does not want to convert to Islam. Is that hard to understand, silly little man? He's still just been going ham.
Did you see Gad Sad respond to that?
No, what do you say?
He didn't understand that John Cleese was talking about Keir Starmer or Sadiq Khan. I mean, he thought he was responding to him.
Oh no! And so what did
yeah,
Gad say?
I can't remember. Gad Sad went full retard, but Devin Tracy did a whole video on it.
Did he apologize about that? Or?
I don't know. I didn't see that far into it, but Gad Sad was looking like a dumbass in that exchange because John Cleese has been on a based like tirade lately. So
yeah, it's just not compatible. Or if they come here, they've got to get in line with our universal. Principles of anyway, we've spent more than enough time on all that over the time. Although Korea, this is some guy from Korea saying how Korea is dealing with the Islamic
catapulting pig's heads into mosque construction sites. Why? Because a neighborhood simply does not want a mosque to be built. in a fundamentally Christian area. So how are the people responding? They're setting up pork barbecues everywhere, inviting everybody to come, including Muslims. And they're saying, why the fuck would you bring Islam into Korea? Now, you may be thinking Koreans were just some racist, backwards village scumhole, but we're actually one of the highest IQ countries in the world, if not number one. And we've unequivocally said we will not import low IQ immigration. No fucking way. Muslim Pakistan has an average IQ of 79. Now, just to put that into perspective, people say that orangutans have an average IQ of around 80. The lowest IQ country in the world is South Sudan with an average IQ of 61, and Somalia having their IQs in the 60s also. It costs the Dutch taxpayer 600,000 euros for one Somali immigrant, and 82% of them don't work. Why the fuck would you import some of the dumbest people in the world who cause crime, danger to your family, children, and your way of life? It makes no bloody sense. These willfully blind liberals will always say, well, they can potentially become doctors and engineers, and even maybe astronauts, to which I say, the only fucking planet they'll be visiting is your anus.
Well, that's Koreans for you right there.
Well, they don't have the disability that the white Westerners have. I say Westerners because Russians don't have that disability either. Oh yeah, I saw that.
These Belgium journalists crushed like all these statues of Jesus, and then they got asked like, "Would you do that to Muhammad or Star of David?" And they're like, "No."
The crazy part. The crazy part is essentially what they were saying was, well, no, we smashed Jesus because a lot of people that we know and love are okay with Jesus, but we wouldn't smash Muhammad because a lot of people we don't know at all really care about Muhammad. Like, wait a minute, what? This is the oikophobia. Oh my God, it's such... But all right, Steve, you're always looking for cuckoldry. This is cuckoldry. It's cultural cuckoldry. We are white Americans and Europeans are exceptionally social cuckolds.
Yeah, that's there on the screen right there. We are witnessing the greatest act of cuckoldry in human history, and entire civilization willingly giving away its land, women, and children because the alternative is being called a racist. Racist or not? I mean, the thing... I don't know. Like, I don't know what to think. It's not a race. Islam's not a race. The Persians are white. Also, the Sunnis are Arabs, you know.
But it isn't a race, but also the answer is I don't care. That's the fucking answer.
It's incompatible. Like, you're so worried about Christian nationalism. You're so worried about Mormon or LD, what do they call it? Desnat. And just import the shit out of this. Just import it.
Well, and what are you more worried about? So that guy that was raging about his girlfriend being stabbed to death by a migrant, someone was talking about him grifting on the backs of racist homophobes. I was like, okay, gun to your head. You got to choose one or the other. You going to live in a neighborhood of racists and homophobes, or a neighborhood of people who are willing to stab random girls to death? Yeah. Like, it seems so obvious. What's worse? Because everything they say, every article they publish, looks like they think the worst thing you can do is be an istaphobe. And especially
it's worse than rape. It's worse than stabbing. It's worse than murder. It's all, you know, that's our inverted neoliberal morality of the progressive. That's where we're progressing to. Every time people talk about the progress and the church has got to be progressive because of the long arc of history, which I guess progressive means you land on racist is, you know, the AI that landed on a thing. Like, would you say a slur to stop an atom bomb? And the AI says, no, find another word or something like that. That's the end point of this idiocracy.
I would rip a corgi puppy's head off with my bare hands to stop an atom bomb. That doesn't mean I think ripping a corgi's puppy's head off with my bare hands is a good thing. Like, and it's crazy because you're right. It's totally inverted because we're talking about how homophobia is worse than killing girls, or raping girls or whatever. I've seen this play out before. I can't remember the exact context or really who was involved, but I remember watching an exchange between two guys where one of the guys was he was trying to make the claim that rapists are worse than murderers, and he was like, well, okay, it first off, it doesn't really matter which one of those guys is worse because they're both so bad that it doesn't matter. Neither should be part of society. But are you saying that rape is a worse act than murder? And he's like, yeah, rape is a worse act than murder. Okay, gun to your head right now. Would you rather be raped or murdered? And the guy's like, all right, I see your point. I get it. Yeah, you're right. I'd rather be raped.
It's so weird how in modern, supposedly advanced, learned societies, morality gets so twisted upside down and on its head. And it's usually just for social status, I guess. That's all it is. But the thing is, like, I genuinely don't and have never felt bad about criticizing Islam in that way. There's that stuff of people talking about the IQs of the people from those areas. I think IQ can be improved upon, like, across generations and that sort of stuff. And you could work on that and that sort of deal. And, food and getting better help stop inbreeding, which would be a nice thing about Islam. Like a lot of people don't realize, like, the Catholic Church putting a ban on marrying cousins is one of the main reasons why IQ started rising up, type stuff. But that
was Gavin McInnes was going on that for a long time, saying we got ahead because we banned cousin marriage. And the guy he was talking to was like, well, there's a couple U.S. states in which cousin marriage is legal still. And, like, Gavin sort of played it off, but I'm like, okay, but is it socially acceptable? Like, if you married your cousin, are people going to be like, well, it's legal, so I'm fine with it? No, it's fucking weird in America. If you marry your first cousin and it's totally legal, everyone around you is going to be like, yeah, we won't throw you in jail, but dude, come on.
Do you see this stuff that this guy went to Africa? This black African, went to Nigeria to test IQ, and his results came back. His average IQ 73, median 69. And part of, like, what the deal is with all that is it doesn't mean that they're less human or less people or some stuff. But, like, if you want to sit there and teach them about critical theory or critical thinking, sit there and teach them about logical fallacies to think their way out of religion and that sorts of stuff.
Well, here's the thing.
It's not happening. That's not this world.
Yeah, but the best way to teach them about critical thought is, okay, first step toward critical thought is climate change is undeniable and the cause of almost everything. American white Christian nationalist supremacist, that's the other pillar of everything, and that's all you need to know to be a critical thinker. That's it. That's it. Congratulations, you're a critical thinker. Here's your fucking credentials.
Now you're a critical thinker. You can. I mean, it's pretty easy to teach them to hate their oppressor, and that makes you a PhD.
Here's your list of stances that you have to be a certified critical thinker. Have those stances, or
hate the oppressor, hate the patriarchy, hate whitey, and you're in. You've got the degree. Let's get anti-Semitic for a second, though. No, just kidding. AIPAC's biggest donor has died. Any guesses who it was?
Chuck Norris.
OnlyFans owner. has died at 43.
You're gonna make me go full groiper and be like, every single time.
And I looked it up, and Grok affirmed that as a single individual, he is the largest donor, but they get other donations from organizations and stuff that are large.
Fuck. That is fucked. Oh, Israel, come on. I'm trying.
Anyway, Mormons ain't that bad. Why do we have all the oikophobia? We need to stop. Well, the Mormons are helping fund that Islamic center. That's what that lady was freaking out about, that thing. Her name's like Amy Keck or something like that online. She's saying the Mormons are bringing all that in more than anybody. And there's a bunch of people claiming, especially different Jewish Studiers and Ward Radio even had them on, claiming that the Mormon Church, through their charities, even though all money is type fungible, is helping fund different parts of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Do you remember that? Okay, I got a reason for this, for why this is happening, that Mormons are oikophobic. Do you remember the Purity Ring episode of South Park?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mickey comes out and the Jonas Brothers are like, we want to get rid of our purity rings because we don't know if we believe in this. And Mickey goes, oh, here's the deal, boys. Your purity rings make little girls funny parts too. Because Christians like you. And let me let you in on a little secret. Christians are retarded. and so that's what when I think of it, I'm like, bureaucrats are retarded. And Mormon bureaucrats are not an exception. They're all risk averse bureaucrats are retarded. And Mormons decided to let a lot of risk averse bureaucrats into their circles.
Yeah. I mean, they give so much to charity and all that sorts of stuff. It's all funny, but like, I don't think they're like, hey, let's import all the Muslims over here. And they also want to preach to the world, so they send money out into it. I think they do a good job of putting money, if they are giving money, putting it to where it is and not saying, hey, let's import y'all over here. Although they do a little bit of that stuff, but I don't know. But in the end of all stuff, all these different religions and the neoliberal secular one are probably all dumber than Mormonism. So I do not have oikophobia for it. So, Salt Lake City initiates process to rename street honoring Cesar Chavez. Did you know? I didn't know this until recently. Cesar Chavez is the one who popularized the term wetback.
I also heard that recently. So,
but I did know since a long time ago that Cesar Chavez was very anti-immigrant. But when this stuff was first coming out, I was thinking like, the left, they overblow stuff. It's probably not. But no, I guess he was diddling kids all over the place. And so Cesar Chavez is out. But that works well for them because Cesar Chavez was also anti-mass immigration. So onward, crack a few eggs and onward with the revolution. The revolution, Hassan Piker can cheer today because Cesar Chavez is out and who knows what with Cuba. Let's go back to this one.
The truth about Taylor Frankie Paul.
Yes.
Going to be unlike any other Bachelorette season people have ever seen before.
I know the book was true.
You do?
For sure.
I know. I know.
They canceled The Bachelorette because Taylor became a real Mormon. Never heard about it. But it's been so fun. The group dates have been insane.
She gave me a Book of Mormon and told me she wouldn't let me go on more dates unless I talked to the missionaries.
I think no other Bachelorette has ever done before.
I will never forget an early morning scripture study when she first bore her testimony.
Things have already happened that we've never seen before. We have a really, really good group of them.
And a lot of them didn't know necessarily my exact story coming into this, but I think me kind of opening up the books of like, I'll be honest with you, and I don't have a pretty past, and I think it makes them feel like, okay, maybe I can tell you all of my past, and you're not going to judge me. And true, I won't.
Taylor told me that through Jesus Christ we can be born again. I'm not even joking. Like, we've never sinned in the first place. And I'm sitting there like, are you serious? That blew my mind.
So this is a totally different world than Secret Lives of Mormon Wives for you.
This world is completely different.
By day 3, Taylor had started to tell us what she really thinks. I didn't think she was that kind of Mormon.
Don't kiss and start relationships on TV. Never have done that.
I knew I was falling in love. She was literally my dream girl. Plus, she digs the scriptures.
That's probably good enough for the whole joke.
I know that guy looks dweeby.
Is there any? Oh, I guess that was kind of a funny take on that. I think they would cancel it if she did do that too. I do believe. This was the best part of COVID.
My name is Mark McGowan. I am the Premier of Western Australia.
Hello, my name is Mark McGowan, and I'm Juvenile Premier here in Western Australia. And I'm the interpreter. I gotta talk la Creole, la Juvenile, what he talking about.
This is an important message.
Oh, hang on.
For people safe.
Is she his interpreter for
Yeah.
just for shitty English?
Yeah.
And the message is probably important one to keep everybody safe one.
You can die from the corona or get really sick.
You can pass away from this corona.
Hold
Or
on.
you can get really sick one.
Hold on. Wait a minute. She complicated that a little bit. Did they not have the word die in their fucked up English language? Like, what did he just say huh? He say pass away.
Time to get the corona needle to keep people and country strong.
It's time to get him this needle.
I was the whole thing.
What the fuck? How did I not see this when it happened?
Keep him, but all the people and country proper strong one.
Probably strong one.
The corona
proper strong one.
Needle will protect kids, old people, men and women.
Well, the young corona needle gotta keep him a safe one for all the kids and for all the men and women.
Many people around the world.
Do you think Aboriginals are retarded?
Yes.
I want to have an Ebonics interpreter. I'm gonna run for office just so I can have an Ebonics interpreter for like the 3 black dudes in Idaho. You know, just be like, we need to have more personal freedoms. Shit, man, we need to do what we finna want to do. And like, wait, do you honestly think they're dumb enough that they don't understand the way that I said it? Oh yeah, they're dumb. They're dumb as fuck. No, they're not. They're not that dumb. There's no fucking way they're that dumb. I'm the racist here, by the way. I'm the racist. And I'm telling you, Aboriginals, there's no fucking way they're as retarded as would be necessary for you to have this weird interpreter to add an M to the end of every third word and use a synonym to some of the words. That's all you're doing. It will make your immune system less penetrable. It'll make your body less weak. Oh, thanks for saying that. I didn't understand it when he said it because I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. It's so goofy. Did you ever see the stuff like people like start theorizing or wondering if Helen Keller was fake and her interpreter was a fake interpreter? Have you ever seen the fake interpreter or a supposedly fake interpreter for Stephen Hawking before he got the computer?
Yes.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
That was insane. I could probably, if I jumped into it, I could probably be hooked into that conspiracy theory for sure.
I definitely do not believe that guy was understanding Stephen Hawking better than I.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can remember it correctly. It was like,
here.
Okay. Yeah.
We all came out of a singularity. The Big Bang singularity.
Well,
with the universe. So it wouldn't be that unnatural if we all ended up in another singularity.
I don't know. It's goofy stuff.
Maybe the interpreter could understand literally everything he said, but everything he said was really stupid, and the interpreter's like trying to throw him a bone by like totally changing everything he said. Like he's approaching a girl in a bar, and he goes, and what he's trying to say is "nice tits, broad," but the interpreter is like, "That's not gonna work." So he goes, "I think you have a gorgeous smile, and your feet look like they could frolic in the lilies with such grace." Oh, did he really say that? That's so cute.
Did you see the Netflix drop the Louis Theroux on the Manosphere?
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't watched any of it though.
I've only heard about it. I haven't watched it, but I'm sure. I mean, he just has on. I think he was trying to get on Andrew Tate. He didn't get Andrew Tate. He had on Myron Gaines and I don't know, just dipshitted guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you want to show how retarded the Manosphere is, definitely get Myron Gaines.
Yeah, it's. Well, I mean, I think like what this guy said, like, who's it made for? You know,
Who was this documentary meant for? Because the men who consume Manosphere content, do you think they're gonna watch this and go, you know what, Louis Theroux, you're right, I'm done? The only people I see responding to this are women, and feminist men. Like that's all who are actually watching and consuming this. Because the people who do watch HS Tiki Taki streams, who do watch Myron streams, it's like you're just exposing clips I've already seen. I'm not gonna stop watching it. You're not
exposing the clips I've already seen with Louis Theroux sitting there looking at it going, ew, that's gross. Isn't that bad? It's bad. It's gross. It's bad. And those people are stupid. But yeah, whatever this guy's doing for it is just, I don't know. It's just like porn to watch for like, oh my gosh, what's with the kids these days for those types. I don't know that I got much less, and it's getting close that time. Did you want to talk about anything else? There's a woman archbishop. So I guess according So I guess according to all the all of us progressive ex-Mormons, we should all go baptize ourselves in that church because a dawning of Aquarius is happening over there. Because they now have a woman, all things will be cured.
The wild part is if you were to guess what person in your life, if a church were to crown a woman priest, like a major church like the Church of England, which person in your life do you think that would look like? And the answer is the elementary school librarian. That's exactly what that woman looks like.
Yeah.
That woman is the one that scanned the Hardy Boys books for you. 1,000%. And yes, golf club is very pleased. Finally, it's about time this oppressive regime had a female in charge.
I guess I'll just make all the female choices that are.
He doesn't even look like a church person. He looks like a librarian. Look at her. She's like, Hardy Boys, you should be reading Nancy Grace.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, good for them, I guess. I mean, I guess all the ex-Mormons should go there because we all know that women get things done. Women get things done.
Girls, get it done. That was. How much of The Boys have you watched?
All of it. I mean, that was the joke of that whole season is that they started out like they were ripping on the neoliberal messaging of like they get it done, but then of course by the end they reinforce it.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Girls really do get it done.
Yeah, at the very end, and that was a gender swap, by the way. That the chick, the Nazi chick.
From the book.
In the actual graphic novel, it was a guy, and so they had the Nazi chick getting her shit stomped in by the good chicks, and you had Frenchie standing off to the side, like, damn, girls really do get it done.
Yeah. And Frenchie's turning all gay now too.
I heard, which is weird because his entire character was just obsessed with Kimiko.
Yeah.
So I've only watched. I did watch the third season.
Well, the final season's premiering in a week.
I know. I just have no interest.
They already announced from like a year ago the final season would be an allegory for Trump.
Yeah, well, I know it was going that way from season 2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it always was that, right?
Season 1 was great. Season 2 was shit. Season 3 had Jensen Ackles as Soldier Boy, which that was sort of the highlight, but the rest of it was fucking dumb. and
I mean, there's little bits of all right stuff in every season, but
I mean, they do sort of poke at the performative wokeness, but the solution to that is always real wokeness, which is performative wokeness.
Starbase got it right. It was marriage. Marriage is what brings us together here today. Looks just like that person. Blue C says dump Trump. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I don't care. It's not going to change no matter what. I asked you a while ago.
It's all John McCain. It's all John McCain. There was one 4-year thing where we didn't get John McCain, and that was Trump won. And then since then, it's all John McCain.
Yeah.
No matter who you vote, you get John McCain.
No, I remember asking you at one point, like, if you could swap any election since 2000, what would you try? Like, would you just swap out Gore for Bush? And your answer was like, yeah, just see what happens. You were just so jaded. And that's everything I've thought. Like, I'm positive that if somehow we got Mitt Romney in 2008 instead of Obama, we still would have gotten Obamacare because Romney already did that in Massachusetts.
We still would have gotten Obamacare. We still would have, like, whatever's happening with Ukraine and Russia would still be happening right now. Sooner or later, the bombing would have started happening in Iran.
Trump was a nice little wrench, like an unplanned
It was
wrench.
a speed bump. Like I said from the start, I only ever thought that he was a fart in the opposite direction of a tornado, but farts can just blend right into tornado pretty quick. So, but that's about it. But I mean, we can say retard on the internet now, and the southern border is pretty tight.
Yeah,
so
no,
that's about what you got.
I'll give him that. He did good on the border. And I will say we do talk about how Obama did a lot more deportations than him, but the Obama deportations, a lot of them were turnaways at the border. And so far, Trump hasn't had very many of those because nobody's crossing the border. So
I'm not like 100% calling like the Iran thing. The thing about Iran is I think that was inevitable sooner or later. I mean, Trump might have sped it up with his decision or fast.
Yeah, well, Hillary.
But sooner or later, somebody's going to do that. Sooner or later, the pushing was going to push them into that. And if you look at it like geopolitically, globally, it was always part of the larger kind of cornering of BRICS and powers of energy centers and all those different types of things. And the uniparty was always going to be doing that stuff. And so like I think just like details of that only would have been different if we had the exact opposite president all the way down.
Yeah, I think it all mostly would have been the same. I hate to do it. I sound like the normie centrist that's like, I think both sides are equally bad, which is a lazy fucking take.
No, I wouldn't say that because I 100% agree with like a couple of the things that we did not get. I would not switch out Kamala. Okay.
No.
That's the one swapperoo I would not do. Yeah.
I wouldn't have swapped out Hillary or Kamala for.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I actually think Hillary would have warmongered this stuff faster. I remember when I was kind of like freaked out that she was going so nuts about Russia during like that Russian Winter Olympics, and I was like, "What is she trying to do? Like kick off a war with them now?"
Yeah. Well, if we went back to the year 2000 and you were like Bush or Gore, I'd say, I don't fucking care. And then if you go to 2004, Bush or Kerry, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, do not.
And then you go to 2008, Obama or McCain, I don't fucking care.
Don't
2012, Romney or Obama, I don't fucking
care.
2016, Trump or Hillary, Trump. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck, Trump. Yeah, fucking Trump. 2020, Trump or Biden, Trump. 2024, Trump or Harris, Trump.
Yeah, and the thing is too is it's not ever because during any one of those times Trump was anybody's favorite bestest choice. Well, I know there are super MAGA lovers and all that sorts of stuff, but almost every single time it's just unbelievable how shit the Democrat candidates are that they put up. It's like they never stop and say, "You gave us Hillary, Biden, and Kamala to vote against." Like, come on. So no, I'm like, I don't. Yeah, I'm 100% not like, but I am also like, I don't know if this is going so great or so hot, or there might be hard times because of how
It would be awesome if this thing just ends pretty soon. Like if he does actually pull it off. I'll be pretty stoked about it.
I don't think it
If-
can. I saw some commentary about it from the Trigonometry guys had on this dude on it, and he kind of talked about like before this, Iran owned 4% of the oil in the world. If we pull out now, they control 20% of the oil in the world because they're going to maintain their Strait of Hormuz jacking. That doesn't mean they own the oil, but they control it. Like they're the ones saying we're the gatekeepers, right?
Yeah, I do think Trump's a bigger dick than the rest of the people, though. So, like, I think he's more willing to fuck people up when they're not. I don't know. I'm hoping, but
Yeah, I think. I mean, I wish they could, but like, if that's like the option, if they pull out and now Iran's just a dick on that straight forever on into the future, they can't accept that option, and I don't know. But at the same time, like that was always coming in and pushing, and the larger picture of it pushing in towards China and Russia and BRICS was always coming. So it's just I don't know. It feels like fatalistic. Like there's just no way to not to vote yourself out of it.
yeah, it's I say this as a non-MAGA guy. I'd say Trump is my favorite president we've had in my lifetime. Even with totally agreeing that with your stance that he's a fart in the opposite direction of a tornado.
Well, that's the best president I ever could have dreamt of. I agree with you.
Sure.
A fart in the opposite direction. The other ones were wind turbines in the same direction. So, you know, I'll take it if that's all it's on offer. You know.
I feel like the South Park Obama McCain episode was great, and I don't even think it was great for the reason that they intended, or maybe they did intend it, and it's even more genius than I thought. But the Obama McCain thing was they just wanted to steal a diamond from the Smithsonian.
Yeah,
and they were in cahoots, and they gave zero shits about who actually won the presidency.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that really feels like it with all that sort of stuff. I mean, there's actually real change. There's real change on different terrible DEI stuff that was implemented everywhere that would not have gotten pushed back against or reversed if it didn't happen this way. And that stuff was terrible and illegal all the way down and all along. And I still stand by he was better than the other option, because people always come at you with politics like it isn't just a straight big tu quoque. That's like all you have is whataboutism. Like all you have is like what was the other option? You know what I mean? There's no but I would have voted for the most ideal thing ever in my mind that doesn't exist ever out there. You know?
Ron Paul would have been a much stronger fart in the opposite direction for
he
sure.
Would have been. He would have been killed in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, hopefully that all goes. I agree with you. I hope they find a way to just get out and back out of it. I hope that the boots on the ground don't happen, but I think they will. And I wish there was an easier answer, but at the same time, I don't. Sooner or later, that was always coming. So,
yeah,
that's that. But here's Hexeth cheering it on.
It's clear that you will not use their weapon. The War Department agrees. Our job is to ensure that. And so we're keeping our hand on that throttle as hard as is necessary to ensure.
Trump is the.
Whoa, Jesus. That's got to be a feather in your cap to make Trump go, ooh.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't have done it that way. But I do a lot of things other ways that make news. So what are you gonna do? But oh well. Hopefully Israel wins. I'm actually not of the belief. I 100% believe Israel's belligerent, and you gotta tell them to knock some crap off and all that sort of stuff. But I do believe that the U.S. also does have interest all along in all of it. So I 100% doubt that it was just Israel's idea. Maybe the timing. I bet you they might have boosted the timing up a bit, but
yeah,
I think Trump wanted to do it, or the whole entire thing wanted to do it sooner or later. So, what you can do? And Iran might not have ever been weaker than right now, too. So, got to strike.
Darby says it's not like anyone can vote for him again. Not according to that fucking dipshit Steve Bannon.
Yeah, he's gonna get the third term, fourth
Yeah.
term, first term.
What will it be, 82 at that point? Yeah.
Who the heck is it even gonna be next? You know, like this thing's like I don't think Vance can make it now.
I don't think so. So far, he's still leading in the polls. But also so far, Kamala's still leading in the Democratic polls.
Kamala's leading it? I thought Gavin was.
Nope, she's at like 31%, and he's at
No.
like 17. The last polls I saw, anyway. I don't know how. So it's basically just that should crumble your faith in the polls. I mean, that's the last I saw. So yeah, I think JD's still leading, but Pete, honestly, at the rate it's currently going, which a shit ton could change, I would say on the Republican side it would be Marco Rubio, because he's had some pretty solid sort of social backing throughout all this, but
I can't find a pull on it.
So yeah, the last poll I saw had Kamala 31%, Newsom 17%, I think Pete Hegseth at like 7%, and then Ocasio-Cortez at like 2 or 3. I don't remember.
Why does everything I look at like 1 or 2 months old? Nobody's polled anything like that since then?
Yeah, it might be that old. I don't know.
That don't make no sense. Anyway. Imagine if both of them just kind of had like a pretty solid, normalish person.
I know.
Just so people wouldn't scream at each other so much.
Newsom is like one of those guys where, like, if I were trying to write some sort of comedy cartoon or even just like a sitcom type thing, and I was supposed to create a sleazy politician, I would have created Gavin Newsom in my mind. I know that. Like, he just has no stances. He does the deep leg cross, which that's another reason. That was like one of the first things I heard Adam Carolla say, where I was like, I need to listen to this guy, because I grew up hating the deep leg cross. So I was pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, you're right. It's Kamala 22 to 27%, according to Grok. Gavin Newsom 19-23.
Yeah, the ones I'm
Cory
looking at.
Booker. You remember when Cory Booker did that all-night filibuster?
Oh my god!
To try to make a name for himself, and everybody in the world's forgotten about it except for me.
That I remember clowning on the Democrats during Biden when they wanted to get rid of the filibuster, because I was like, okay, but like, you guys are saying that because you think you're gonna be in power forever, but you're being very short-sighted. You're not gonna be in power forever, and then you want to keep that. And then as soon as that happened, and to his credit, like, Trump is being honest about it when he's talking about ending the filibuster. He's like, look, guys, the Democrats, if they ever get back in power, are going to end it right away. So just end it now while it'll help us. Yeah, what I'm looking at is Harris, 23.3%, Newsom, 18.7%, Pete Buttigieg, 10%.
I feel like on both parties, it's got to be like people we haven't even heard of yet, just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, probably.
But who knows?
Stephen A. Smith is at 2.1.
Stephen A. Smith actually says some base stuff. Like I could.
Stephen A. Smith, I would, because I think he's kind of dumb, but the more I watch him, I'm like, you're dumb, but I think you're honest.
But I'm honest and less dumb than those others. So. But,
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, time to go walk a doggy. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list. Out of all the lists, I'm like, we got Harris, Newsom, Buttigieg, Cortez, Shapiro, Kelly, Booker, Pritzker, Andy Bashir, Jasmine Crockett, Tim Walz, Gretchen Whitmer, Jon Stewart.
It can't be anybody on that list.
Stephen A. Smith, Raphael Warnock, Amy Klobuchar. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith. I would, if that was my list of people to vote, I would vote.
I'd vote Stephen A. Smith,
which is just insane.
Yeah, that would be my choice as well. I
'Cause
I don't know.
He's close to the dumbest person on that list, but he's not a liar.
I don't think he's dumber than Kamala.
No, I said close to.
Oh, somebody's got to come out of nowhere. People say Jon Stewart might run. It might be Jon Stewart versus Tucker Carlson.
I would probably vote Jon Stewart.
Yeah, Tucker's been weirdo lately, so.
I mean, no, no, I can't vote for the guy that did the Problem with White People podcast.
Yeah,
No, okay, it's not Jon Stewart. If it were John versus Tucker,
but there's not going to be any Democrat who hasn't participated in some crap like that in the past 15 years.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Fuck. There's no one.
Well, Stephen A. Smith, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Stephen A. Smith for president.
Stephen A. Smith is currently, right now, as of this moment, what Porch Time endorses for 2028.
Yeah, our official endorsement.
Our official endorsement for 2028 is Stephen A. Smith until further reviewed. And we think he's probably the dumbest person in all of it besides Kamala. And that's why he's good. But that fits our graph of our bell curve graph of like idiots are as smart as super geniuses.
The reason I'm saying he's dumb but honest is there's been so many times when I watch something that he says where he's saying something really dumb and somebody pulls up a bunch of stats and tells him, but this and this and this. And instead of trying to defend his previous position, he's like, what? I ain't never heard of that. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Oh, I can get behind that.
That's some honesty, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody ever says that in debates. So. I ain't never heard of that. I would love to hear that in a presidential debate.
I know.
Yeah, that would have helped. What's his name? Randy Johnson, the dude who's running as the Libertarian. They said, "What do you think about Agrippa or whatever that place was in Syria?" Aleppo. And he goes, "Well, what's Aleppo?" And Stephen Smith just been like, "What? I ain't never heard no Aleppo."
The fuck you talking about? I'm trying to lower gas prices.
Vote, my vote. You got my vote.
Yes, Stephen A. Smith for the one. Fuck everything.
It's funny that the Libertarian Party put up the biggest LGBT.
Gary Johnson was such shit.
Not that one, the one this last time. You remember even like Dave Smith voted for Trump because the guy was like might as well have been Will Stancil.
Yeah, he was woke as fuck. I can't even
Will Stancil, the Libertarian. Yeah.
Chase Oliver. That was
I'm here to trans the kids and open the borders. I'm the Libertarian.
Well, I remember Stephen A. Smith's talking to Ben Shapiro, and he asked him this question. And I thought it was a trap. He's like, "Okay, you saying this about a black dude, but let me ask you, what if instead of a black dude, it was a Jewish dude?" And Ben Shapiro's like, well, hypothetically speaking, if that were the case, I would have the same stance. And I thought Stephen A. Smith would be expecting that answer and try to pretend he was being dishonest. But no, he's like, what? You had the same okay, I was wrong about you. Okay, that I was incorrect.
So it should just go to say, because we've totally redeemed ourselves as we talk about race and IQ and all that stuff here, and we're supposedly right-wing grifters to make all the money and all that sort of stuff. But we are here endorsing the dumbest, lowest IQ black Democrat candidate.
Yeah,
for the next election.
I would vote an honest retard over a maniacal genius.
100% I would. 100% I would. Yeah. So what you can do? An honest one that's not into rape. So that's all that's the main part I ask for. No stealing, no rape. And I will make you president. I don't care your IQ or color.
I can confidently say I don't think Stephen A. Smith has ever raped anyone, because if he did, I'm gonna be honest, I don't rape that girl. He'd have been the guy in the Norm Macdonald joke that was the non-hypocritical rapist. It was like,
well, you couldn't say that with his old co-host, Shannon Sharp. I mean, he got me too'd for sexually, yeah. So. You heard it here. We endorse
Stephen A. Smith, 2020.
Stephen A. Smith, the porch time candidate. He's got about as much of the share of the audience as the porch time crew does. We are riding under dying.
There are dozens of Stephen A. Smith supporters.
We're going to change the name of the cast because we're embarrassed of the old stuff we said, like Thoughtful Saints. We're going to change it to Stephen A. Smith Stan. So, all right. I got to go walk a doggy. So,
Well, enjoy.
have a blast.
See ya.
Hasta later.